Chapter 342, Strong Deity Turns Soft and Gentle in Less than 2 hours, and Feng bought the items back and then said with an apologetic smile, Miss Jo, these things cost a total of 80,000 spirit stones. Have a look. Yun Chujo looked at him and said with a smile, do you want 80,000 spirit stones or the one-of-kind pills that I refined for you? And Feng saw the look of disdain in his superior's eyes and immediately became terrified. Of course I want the pills. Miss Jo, please take it as if I was talking nonsense. Yun Chujo giggled, I'm kidding. I'm a reasonable person. We're friends. Why would I cheat you? Take it. Yun Chujo transferred 80,000 spirit stones to An Feng and continued to make the pills. An Feng and An Yin were stunned. Friends? Miss Jo said that she was friends with them. They were the Lord's subordinates, and Miss Jo was a lady that the Lord liked. How could she treat them as friends? Although the women of Tianyuan continent wanted to get close to the Lord and please him, the disdain in their eyes toward them could not be hidden. Only Miss Jo did not treat them as servants. Di Baiming looked at the two stunned people and then shifted his gaze to Yun Chujo, who was focused on refining pills. With the increase of spiritual power, Yun Chujia's skin had become fair, especially her eyes, which were like a pool of spring water, bright and lively. Di Baiming felt his heart beat faster and faster, thinking of the lingering words between the two. A certain someone's face turned red again. Yun Chujia's alchemy finally came to an end. Then, she fed the alchemy furnace that she bought to the heaven and earth furnace. The heaven and earth furnace was probably already full, so it only ate one alchemy furnace and stopped eating thereafter. Yun Chujo put it and the alchemy furnaces into her storage ring. The rolling pin did not dare to go in no matter what, so Yun Chujo could only put the rolling pin into another storage ring. Yun Chujo kept some pills for herself and gave some to Di Baiming and the others. Then she touched her stomach and said, Idol, let's have dinner. I'm starving. After the two of them had dinner and chatted for a while outside, Yun Chujo yawned and said that she was sleepy. Refining pills consumed a lot of spiritual power. Only a weirdo like Yun Chujo would be able to endure it. The two of them washed up briefly. Yun Chujo climbed to the side of the bed and yawned as she said, Idol, sing the lullaby. Di Baiming frowned. Didn't we agree yesterday? I'll only sing it once. I won't sing it anymore. Di Baiming thought to himself. He was a majestic overlord. How could he sing the lullaby for others? It would be so embarrassing if it got out. He could not sing it no matter what. Yun Chujo pouted. Prince Charming, my hand is cramping from refining pills today. Who do you think I'm doing this for? Can't you feel a little sorry for me? Prince Charming, I beg you, just sing one more time. Di Baiming's determination was immediately shaken. Should he sing one last time? Prince Charming. My good Prince Charming, please pity me. Okay. Yun Chujo hugged Di Baiming's arm and shook it. Her little head rubbed against Di Baiming's chest. Di Baiming's determination had long disappeared as he hummed in a low voice, the moon is bright, the wind is still, the leaves cover the window lattice. The crickets chirp, 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 like the sound of the zither strings. The sound of the zither is soft and melodious, the cradle is swaying gently. Ah, my little Jo, close your eyes, sleep with that, sleep in your dream, Prince Charming, pat me. Di Baiming could only raise his hand and pat Yun Chujo slowly and rhythmically as he sang. Yun Chujo was extremely proud in her heart. Humph. Little fellow, no matter how strong your heart is, I can still turn you into a soft and gentle person. Little gigolo, sooner or later, you'll be my slave. Chapter 343, Residence. The next day, Yun Chujo opened her eyes, feeling refreshed. Di Baiming had woken up a long time ago. He was afraid that he would wake Yun Chujo up, so he just laid there and did not get up. Yun Chujo hugged Di Baiming's neck and kissed his face. Good morning, Prince Charming. Di Baiming was overjoyed, but he said, "It's early in the morning. Don't mess around." Yun Chujio laughed evilly. "Tisk, my handsome man. Are you not happy that I kissed you? I simply must kiss you today." Yun Chujio pounced on Di Biming and gnawed his face. Di Biming felt that if he did not do anything, he would be worse than a beast. Hence, Yun Chujio left the house with red and swollen lips. Damn it. Damn gigolo. He usually looked sullen, but when he kissed her, he was really fierce. "I can't go out today. Otherwise, it would be hilarious if people saw me." An Fong and An In saw Yun Chujio, so they quickly ran to the corner to pass time. Just after breakfast, the voice of the manager of the affairs office came from the identity jade token, asking all the new disciples to go to the affairs office to be reassigned to their departments and accommodation. Yun Chujio had no choice but to take out a gauze to cover her face and fly to the affairs department on the chopping board. When Yun Chu and the others saw Yun Chujio covered with the gauze, they could not help but ask curiously, "Little Jiu, why are you covered with the gauze?" "Well, I have a rubella," Yun Chujio said with incomparable calmness. Everyone did not suspect her and only asked a few questions with concern. Yun Chujio quietly changed the topic and started to talk about the accommodation. The person in charge of the distribution department and the residence was still Qi Sheng. However, this time, his attitude toward Yun Chujio and the others had taken a 180-degree turn. Last time he was as cold as ice, but this time he was as warm as spring. "Junior sister Little Jiu, you're a personal disciple. You can choose a residence in the upper part of the middle section of Middle Peak. The spiritual qi there is much stronger than at the foot of the mountain." Qi Sheng was afraid that Yun Chujio would look for trouble, so he said with a smile. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes, thought for a moment, and said, "My master is still in secluded cultivation, so I won't change my accommodation for the time being. Let's talk about it after my master comes out of cultivation." Not only Qi Sheng, but everyone was stunned. Was Yun Chujio stupid? She was living at the foot of the mountain, and the spiritual qi there was far inferior to the spiritual qi in the personal disciple area. Besides, she was living in the servants' dormitory in the Middle Peak's big kitchen. How demeaning. Yun Chu tugged at Yun Chujio's sleeve. "Little Jiu, don't be willful." Yun Chujio smiled at her. "Fifth sister, I have my own plans. You guys choose yours." Yun Chu and the others were already used to listening to Yun Chujio's words. Seeing that she insisted, they went along with her. After exiting the office, Rolling Pin asked in puzzlement, "Master, why didn't you change your residence?" "Of course there's a reason. Right now, my residence is remote and there aren't many people coming. It's the best. Firstly, Gigolo and Black Chicken Head often comes to look for me. These two are fearless masters. It wouldn't be good if others got caught in this. Secondly, I have too many secrets. It's better if I don't attract attention. Thirdly, and most importantly, it'll always attract lightning. It won't be good if I implicate others. My current living quarters is close to the back of the mountain, which is great because I can run back there if needed." As soon as Yun Chujio finished speaking, dark, rolling clouds began to gather in the sky. Yun Chujio looked up and said in a calm tone, "Look, speaking of the devil. Let's go to the back of the mountain." Chapter 344, The Overlord Who Turned on the Flirting Mode. Yun Chujio rode on the chopping board and leisurely arrived at the back of the mountain. The huge pit that was created by the lightning had already been filled up. She did not know where they had transplanted the trees. Anyway, the back of the mountain was a thriving scene. Yun Chujio could not help but feel a little guilty. After this strike, the back of the mountain would probably be filled with destruction again. She was really a little expert at destroying ecological balance. The clouds above the back of the mountain became heavier and darker. The voice transmission talisman in the storage ring started to tremble. "Black Thing, are you at the back of the mountain?" "Prince Charming, I'm at the back of the mountain. The little purple loach is going to strike me again." Yun Chuzhou was stunned, but her heart warmed up. The gigolo misses me. Wait for me. Di Baiming only said 2 words, and Yun Chujia's heart palpitated. She could not help but pat herself on her face. You're quite promising. Di Baiming soon appeared in front of Yun Chuzhou. My Prince Charming, you just watch from the side. They can't do anything to me. Yun Chuzhou did not know why, but she still felt a little shy. Di Baiming nodded, don't worry, I'm here. Yun Chuzhou felt her little heart thumping violently. TSK, why did the gigolo turn on his flirting mode at the slightest disagreement? She really wanted to pounce on him and ravage him. Boom! 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 A series of lightning bolts woke Yun Chuzhou up from her daze. This fellow was interrupted and immediately became angry. Yun Chuzhou placed her hands on her waist and started to curse. Damn it! Don't you have eyes? Can't you see that I'm talking to my Prince Charming? Don't you have any manners? Haven't you learned moral education? Are all of you from the dark thunderclouds world so uncultured? None of you are worthy of such a noble color like purple. A bunch of loaches. There's a word that fits all of you perfectly. It's the combination of all of you. Strike me. If you have the ability, continue to strike me. The thing that I'm least afraid of is being struck by lightning. If you don't strike me, you're a slow tortoise-like bastard. When Furry saw this scene, his face was filled with tears. How stupid was she? She even wanted to kill this scourge with lightning. Good heavens, her little heavenly lightning could not be compared to these heavenly lightning, okay? She was not even afraid of such dense heavenly lightning, yet she still wanted to kill it. She was so stupid. At that moment, the thick, dark clouds in the sky wanted to cry but had no tears. News of Yun Chuzhou, this weirdo, had spread throughout the Thunder world. A small freak had appeared on a low-level continent like the Qingxian continent. She could not be killed no matter how she was struck. The most infuriating thing was that this fellow's mouth was especially sarcastic, and she could curse you without any obscene words. However, it had no choice. It had to come because it was a mission. At that moment, the dark clouds was thinking in its heart, it'll just strike a couple times. It can't kill her anyway. I'd better let the heavens think of another way to kill her. Yun Chuzhou was a little unhappy when she saw that the dark clouds was unenthusiastically striking her. Hey! You in the sky. Have you not eaten yet? If you want to strike me, be quick. I'm still waiting for lunch. What are you waiting for? If you don't strike me, I'm going to scold you. The dark clouds in the sky had a mental breakdown. Why are you still threatening me? Besides, could you not scold me anymore? You've clearly scolded me for quite a while just now. The dark clouds in the sky struck a pot and smashed it. With a crackling sound, it struck down the remaining heavenly lightning and flew away as if it was fleeing. In future hacking mission, I will not accept it anymore. I will not do anything. It hurts my pride too much. Chapter 345, he was called Di Beiyu. Master Xianyuan and the others also paid attention to the situation at the back of the mountain. They strictly forbade their disciples from approaching the back of the middle peak. Master Xianyuan felt that he should issue a sect rule to make the back of the middle peak a forbidden area. Yun Chuzhou saw that the dark clouds had drifted away. She jumped into Di Baiming's arms and said, Prince Charming, I was struck so miserably. Please carry me back. The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched. The dark clouds in the sky seemed even more miserable. When it floated away, it seemed to be trembling. However, with the soft ball of a person in his arms, Di Baiming's heart melted. He immediately carried Yun Chuzhou and walked down the mountain. Di Baiming raised his eyebrows. Someone was coming. Di Baiming's eyes flashed. There was no harm in seeing them. Sure enough, they met Master Xianyuan, the 5 peak masters, and a group of elders not far away. At that moment, Yun Chujio was touching Di Baiming, and he did not stop her. Yun Chujio's hand was reaching into Di Baiming's clothes. Cough. Cough. Master Xianyuan felt that it was a little harsh on his eyes, so he quickly coughed dryly. Yun Chujio was busy taking advantage of him just now and did not notice the arrival of these people. She sheepishly withdrew her hand and screamed, "Ah! I was knocked unconscious." Everyone was speechless. Can you please act more realistically? Aren't you looking down on our intelligence like that? You looked like a pervert just now and suddenly you fainted. Who are you kidding? The crowd could not be bothered to expose her, so they turned their attention to Di Baiming. Everyone was shocked. What an outstanding young man. He was dressed in a white brocade robe, and his facial features were as handsome as ever. What was more shocking was this person's aura. His gaze was sharp, the aura of superiority was undoubtedly revealed. Everyone could not help but take a few steps back, and even had a faint desire to submit to him. Everyone was even more shocked to discover that they could not see through this young man's cultivation base. That could only mean that this young man's cultivation base was actually higher than everyone else's. He looked to be less than 20 years old, but he actually possessed such profound spiritual power. It was really unbelievable. Yun Chujio, who was pretending to be unconscious, slowly realized that everyone did not know Di Baiming. She jumped down from his arms and acted as if nothing had happened. Fortunately, her lips were no longer so swollen, or else she would really be too ashamed to see anyone. She said with a smile, "Sect Master. Hello everyone. When did you arrive?" The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. You're too good at pretending. Come. Let me introduce everyone. This is the benefactor who saved me last time. His name is Di Bayu. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Di Baiming staggered. Good, very good. Just you wait, black thing. So it's Master Di. Thank you for saving my disciple. Please come to the meeting hall and let us be good hosts. Master Xianyuan said politely. Yun Chujio was about to reject on behalf of Di Baiming, but he nodded lightly. Master Xianyuan, please. Everyone, please. Yun Chujio was stunned. What did the gigolo mean? Was he not always hiding? Why did things suddenly change this time? Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio was stunned, so he grabbed her little claws and led her forward. Master Xianyuan and the others exchanged glances. Oh my God! They did not expect that little Jio's peach blossoms would bloom so brightly. She had actually hooked such an outstanding husband. This young man had an extraordinary background, and his looks and spiritual power were so outstanding. Little Jio was simply lucky. Chapter 346, He fell in love with me at first sight. When the group of people exited the back mountain, they immediately attracted the attention of many disciples of Spirit Radiance sect. Especially so because of Di Baiming's outstanding appearance and imposing manner, which made some female disciples dizzy with infatuation. Oh my God, who is this man? Originally, they thought that senior brother Feng Ming was already charming enough, but compared to this man, he was simply not by a bit. Although senior brother Feng Ming was also very outstanding, this man's temperament was really too mesmerizing. His handsome facial features, sharp eyes, and that noble and natural temperament were too mesmerizing. Some female disciples discovered a big problem. Such an outstanding man was actually holding Yun Chujio's hand. Did this handsome man not have good eyesight? Although Yun Chujio was already much fairer than when she first entered the sect, but her figure was still shriveled, without a single curve. How could it compare to their enchanting figures? Perhaps, this handsome man was Yun Chujio's brother or uncle. Yes, it must be so. Anyone with eyes would not like such a shriveled little girl. Moreover, she was only a good-for-nothing at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. These female disciples reluctantly watched the handsome man leave. One by one, they started rushing home to dress up. Then, they blocked the outside of the meeting hall, waiting for the handsome man to come out so that they could curry favor of the handsome man. Master Xianyuan and the others entered the meeting hall. After they took their seats, Yun Chujiu ran behind Di Baiming, looking like a well-behaved little girl. Everyone's eyes twitched. "Little Jiu, can you be a good girl? If you aren't taking advantage of others, then you're acting cute in front of everyone. It's really embarrassing." The reason why Yun Chujiu did this was because she regretted saying his name so quickly. "Pretty boy, don't settle scores yet, okay? Please perform well." "Master D, may I know where you're from?" Master Xianyuan asked with a smile. "His home is on the sea. Otherwise, why would he be called Di Baiming?" Yun Chujiu was afraid that Di Baiming would not lie, so she said with a smile. "On the sea? Could it be the legendary Penglai Immortal Island?" Master Xianyuan asked in surprise. It was said that there was a Penglai Immortal Island on the sea, and the spiritual power of the people on it was very high, close to that of immortals. Could it be that Master D was from there? "Ah, he's not from Penglai Immortal Island. He's from Kuanpeng Immortal Island." Yun Chujiu spoke nonsense. Di Baiming's eyes flashed, and he just let her talk nonsense. He was not good at lying, so he just let her deal with it. Kuanpeng Immortal Island? Master Xianyuan exchanged a look with everyone. He had never heard of it before, but judging from the strength of the young man, Kuanpeng Immortal Island must be the location of a reclusive expert. "Master Xianyuan, my Prince Charming isn't good with words, so I'll speak on his behalf. He came out to travel. Last time, he happened to save me, and then he fell in love with me at first sight. Just now, when he saw the dark clouds in the sky, he came to save me again. I'm really a little embarrassed." The crowd was at a loss of words. They had seen people with thick skin, but someone as thick-skinned as Yun Chujiu was simply unheard of. "You're Prince Charming. Do you know what it means to be reserved like a girl? And he fell in love with her at first sight? What kind of person would fall in love with you at first sight with the way you were last time?" However, everyone saw that young Master D was only listening with a smile on his face and did not even refute her. It seemed that although Yun Chujiu's words were a little exaggerated, this young Master D really took a fancy to little Jiu. Could it be that he saw through Yun Chujiu's heavenly thunder root spirit? Was that why he looked at Yun Chujiu in a different light? Chapter 347, Heartbroken. "Master D, no matter what, you've saved our Spirit Radiance sect disciple. Please stay for a few more days and let us be good hosts." Master Xianyuan said with a smile. Di Baiming nodded. "Thank you. Then I'll have to trouble you. Master D, then I'll send someone to bring you to our sect's guest house later. Then, I'll send a disciple to accompany you around Spirit Radiance sect." Master Xianyuan said very politely. Such an outstanding young man must not be offended. Moreover, he had the support of Kuanpeng Immortal Island. Di Baiming shook his head. "Master Xianyuan, there's no need to trouble you. I'll just stay at little Jiu's place for a few days." What was that? What did this Master D mean? What did he mean by staying at little Jiu's place for a few days? Did they misunderstood him? Was Yun Chujiu's place not just a room? The two of them wanted to be in the same room together. When Yun Chujiu heard Di Baiming call her little Jiu for the first time, her heart felt numb and her thick, old skin started to turn pink as she said shyly, "Wasn't he severely injured last time? I was the one who took care of him. Us normal people don't have so many scruples. Besides, he's still young. Don't worry, he'll be sleeping on the floor." Everyone felt that their old hearts could not take it anymore. Young people nowadays were too bold and unrestrained. That was right, they did not think too much about it last time. If something could happen, it would have happened last time too. However, Yun Chujiu was right. She was still young, and this young Master D had a graceful bearing. He would not be so mean to bully little Jiu. Sect Master, if you feel guilty, then reward me with some more spirit stones and delicious food. I promise to treat my Prince Charming well. I promise I won't keep it all for myself. Yun Chujo said with a grin. Everyone felt that if she did not add the last sentence, they would believe her even more. With her wild and unruly personality, she would be a ghost if she was not greedy. Master Xianyuan laughed and said, Little Jiu, don't be mischievous. In that case, I'll let you accompany young Master D for a tour around Spirit Radiance sect. I'll arrange for a banquet. Please be sure to attend when the time comes. D Baiming nodded. Thank you. When everyone saw that young Master D did not say much, they exchanged some pleasantries before sending him off. Yun Chujo held D Baiming's arm and hopped out of the meeting hall. When she saw the scene outside, she was instantly enraged. Fuck. What was the meaning of this? All of you are so flashy. Where's the beauty contest? Do you think Gigolo is a piece of meat? Can all of you wipe your saliva off? Yun Chujo instantly had a strong sense of crisis. She held D Baiming's arm even tighter, and her entire body leaned on his. Prince Charming, my feet hurt. Carry me. Yun Chujo said in a sweet voice. The female disciples who were fighting for the Prince Charming were instantly enraged. Prince Charming. From the way she addressed him, he was definitely not an elder brother or uncle. Yun Chujo, you little girl, you actually touched this handsome man. Your feet hurts. Weren't you jumping around happily just now? Besides, don't you have a chopping board? Why do you want this handsome man to carry you? Shameless. The handsome man definitely wouldn't agree. Definitely not. The handsome man raised his eyebrows, and then he actually picked up the thick-skinned Yun Chujo and flew away on his sword. Everyone felt their hearts break. How was that possible? How could he turn a blind eye to these delicate flowers and take a fancy to that simpleton grass of a person? Chapter 348, Dantian was about to explode. Yun Chujo made a face at everyone and stuck out her tongue. Humph. Want to covert Yun Chujius man? In your dreams. Prince Charming, don't you usually hide your tracks? Why did you suddenly reveal yourself this time? Yun Chujo asked curiously. D Baiming raised his eyebrows. I was feeling happy. But, why did you give me the name D Bayu? Yun Chujo blinked her eyes at him. I was afraid that you wouldn't think of a suitable pseudonym. Besides, there's nothing wrong with the name I gave you. Isn't it suitable? The corner of D Baiming's eyes twitched. This black thing was really good at making up lies. If he was not involved, he would have believed her. Prince Charming, don't call me Black Thing anymore. Little Jiu is fine. Yun Chujo said with a slightly red face. It was really strange. Why did she not feel embarrassed when others called her Little Jiu? D Baiming raised his eyebrows. I think Black Thing is nice. If you continue being noisy, you can ride the chopping board back yourself. Yun Chujo pursed her lips and hugged him even tighter, afraid that D Baiming would leave her behind. The two of them arrived at the dormitory. Yun Chujo pouted and ignored him as she went into the room angrily. D Baiming raised his eyebrows. He did not go into the room to comfort Yun Chujo. Instead, he washed his hands and placed the dishes on the stone table. Black Thing, it's time for lunch. If you don't want to eat, then forget it. You haven't tried these new dishes this time anyway. Maybe you wouldn't like it either. D Baiming raised his voice and said. As soon as he said that, Yun Chujo rushed out like a small whirlwind. Who said I wouldn't like it? Humph. The corner of D Baiming's mouth curled up. He was proud in his heart. He had a lot of experience dealing with a greedy little thing like her. When Yun Chujo was halfway through eating, she suddenly screamed, "Ah, it hurts so much." D Baiming was shocked. At first, He thought that Yun Chujio was pranking him, but when he saw her appearance, he immediately became anxious. Yun Chujio's forehead was covered with beads of sweat. She was obviously in extreme pain. Black thing, what's wrong? Di Baiming hugged Yun Chujio and asked anxiously. My dantian hurts. My dantian feels like it's about to explode. Prince Charming, I feel terrible. Yun Chujio's clothes were soon soaked in sweat. Her body was trembling and her eyes were becoming more and more unfocused. Di Baiming was so anxious that the veins on his forehead were popping. He quickly took out a crystal-clear pill from his storage ring and stuffed it into Yun Chujio's mouth. An Feng and An Yin's mouths gaped when they saw the pill. They wanted to say something but stopped. It was a life-saving pill given to him by his honored master. Even if there was only a sliver of life left, one would be saved. They did not expect his honored master to feed it to Miss Jiao just like that. Their honored master had completely fallen for her. After Yun Chujio ate the pill, her condition improved. Di Baiming hurriedly said, Black thing, quickly use your spiritual sense to look inside and see what's going on. Yun Chujio used her spiritual sense to look inside and was instantly enraged. She saw that the inside of her dantian had been turned upside down. The great void mirror and the strange grass were fighting. The mirror kept hitting the strange grass with its body. The strange grass then used 3 leaves to hit the mirror. All of you, stop. Do you still see me as your landlord? Huh? I'm going to die. Then all of you can stop living. If you continue to torment me, I'll cut my abdomen right now. I'll give up my dantian. Chapter 349, Yun Chujio's painting. The strange grass used a leaf to hold its waist, looking indignant. The mirror trembled a few times and was clearly very angry. Furry said weakly in her spiritual sense, Master, they started fighting because they were snatching those purple lightning bolts. I really couldn't stop them. Yun Chujio said hatefully, Strange grass and small mirror, you all better behave. In the future, if there are any more lightning bolts, well, split them in half. Otherwise, we can all die and not think of anything. The strange grass and the great void mirror trembled slightly. It probably meant that they agreed. Only then did Yun Chujio withdraw from her spiritual sense. Prince Charming, it's much better now. It's that damned grass and that broken mirror that are fighting. Yun Chujio leaned in Di Baiming's arms and said weakly. Di Baiming carried Yun Chujio to the bed in the house. He frowned. If this goes on, there will be problems sooner or later. I've already sent a voice transmission talisman to my master, but he might be in secluded cultivation and may not reply to me. He's a mighty figure in the Tianyuan continent. He'll definitely know what to do. Yun Chujio nodded. Okay, Prince Charming, I believe you. What kind of pill did you feed me just now? The Primordial Chaos Vitality Pill. It's a level 15 pill. My master gave it to me. Di Baiming said calmly. Level 15. Isn't that very precious then? Don't tell me you only had one pill. Yun Chujio asked in surprise. No wonder it worked immediately after she ate it. Di Baiming nodded. There's indeed only one pill. No matter how precious it is, it's not as important as your life. Yun Chujio had seen some scenes in the past where the female lead was moved to tears by the male lead's words. She felt that it was too fake. However, why did the gigolo say that sentence? Why did she feel like crying? Yun Chujio's tears started to flow down, sob. My idol, you're really too good to me. I won't secretly scold you anymore. I won't take the painting of you to sell for money anymore. Di Baiming was still sad when he saw Yun Chujio crying. When he heard the last sentence, he asked, Where's the painting? Yun Chujio covered her mouth. Indeed, the IQ of a woman in love was 0. Why did I tell him about this? Yun Chujio covered her stomach. Ouch, it hurts again. Ouch, it hurts. It would be weird for Di Biming to believe her. He smiled coldly. Black thing, are you going to take it out or not? Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming's eyebrows were raised. She had no choice but to take out the painting from her storage ring slowly. There's only this one. There's really no more. Di Biming did not comment. He snatched the painting and opened it. His face immediately turned red. He saw that the painting was indeed him. It was just him lying on the floor. Most importantly, Di Biming was both embarrassed and angry. Black thing. Why, you have no sense of shame. What did you say just now? You were going to sell this painting for money? Yun Chujio laughed dryly. My Prince Charming, don't be angry. I was just saying it for fun. How could I bear to let others see this? If others dare to peek at your body, I'll dig out her eyes. Furthermore, my idol, this drawing is meant to relieve the pain of lovesickness. When I think of you, I'll take it out and take a look. Suddenly, my waist is no longer sore and my legs no longer hurt. I can even walk with energy. Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming was still frowning. She gritted her teeth and said, Idol, if your heart isn't in equilibrium, I'll draw one of me for you. Chapter 350, Struck by Lightning Once Again. Nonsense. How can a girl's body be seen by others? In the future, you're not allowed to draw such immoral paintings anymore. Di Biming shouted angrily. Yun Chujio shrunk her neck. Yes, I know. I'll never draw again. Anyway, I still have a stack of them in my storage ring. All kinds of postures. Gigolo, you'll die of anger if you argue with me. Di Biming thought that Yun Chujio had realized her mistake and softened his tone. You didn't finish your meal. Do you want to go out for lunch or rest for a while? Yun Chujio immediately jumped down from the bed. I'm fine now. Let's go. Let's continue eating. An Fong and An In saw Yun Chujio jumping down and their eyeballs almost fell out. She was about to die just now. Why is she jumping up and down now? What a monster. What a pity for our revered one's primordial chaos vitality pill. Yun Chujio had just eaten a few mouthfuls of food when a dark cloud floated over from the sky. Yun Chujio sighed, Sigh, I can't finish this meal. Prince Charming, perhaps it's because I ate the primordial chaos vitality pill. I'm going to break through. I have to hurry to the back mountain or else this courtyard will be ruined. How could Di Biming be at ease? He quickly carried Yun Chujio and flew toward the back mountain. The two of them had just arrived at the back mountain when the sky darkened. From the looks of it, the sky was much bigger than the dark clouds from before. The dark cloud from before was just a formality. It seemed that this was for real. Yun Chujio counted with her fingers. I'm now at the 8th level of spirit enhancement. From the looks of it, I might directly break through to the spirit cultivator realm. I reckon that this damn heavens will not let me off easily. Prince Charming, you must not block the lightning for me this time. I now have a great void mirror in my dantian which also absorbs lightning. It definitely won't be a problem. You just stay by the side and watch. Di Biming nodded, but in his heart he planned to make a move if the black thing could not withstand it. Master Xianyuan and the others realized that the back of the mountain was once again shrouded in dark clouds. Moreover, it looked even more frightening than the one in the morning. They hurriedly ordered the disciples of the sect to strictly forbid anyone from approaching the back of Middle Peak. Then, they stretched their necks and paid full attention to the situation. There was lightning strikes this morning already. Why is it happening again? What did little Jiu do to provoke the heavens? Elder Chu asked in puzzlement. Could it be that she's going to break through? Maybe after she was done in the morning, the lightning spiritual power in Yun Chujio's body has accumulated to a certain level, so she is going to break through? Elder Shao guessed. Everyone thought that it made sense. After Yun Chujo was struck by lightning last time, she went from not having any spiritual power to the 4th level of spirit enhancement. Who knew how many levels she would rise this time? Yun Chujo looked at the dark clouds above her head and found it somewhat familiar. Damn it, wasn't this the piece of dark cloud that struck me and the gigolo naked last time? Fuck. It's you again. Last time, you really struck me hard. This time, I'm not the same as before. I've changed my weapon. Strike me. Little Loach. Since Yun Chujo had a great void mirror in her dantian, she had more confidence. Even though sometimes these two were quite deceptive, sometimes they were quite useful. For example, at that moment, the dark clouds in the sky thought that it had succeeded last time, but it did not expect this little scourge to suddenly become more powerful and more lively. In the end, it could only return empty-handed. Boom. 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 This time, the dark clouds had learned a lesson and directly struck a powerful heavenly thunder as thick as a wrist at Yun Chujo. No matter what, we must get rid of this scourge this time. Defend the dignity of our lightning tribulation. Chapter 351, Thin, Blue Shiitake Mushroom. The huge heavenly lightning struck ferociously at Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo sat cross-legged on the ground, completely unconcerned. She used her spiritual sense to speak to the strange grass and the great void mirror in her dantian. Hey! Weren't the two of you fighting over lightning just now? Now's your chance. Swallow it with all your might. Whoever absorbs less will be finished. The strange grass proudly shook its leaves, and the mirror did not want to be outdone either. It scrambled to swallow the incoming lightning. After the last lightning strike, Yun Chujo's veins had been expanded to twice their original size, and they were very strong. Therefore, even if the lightning was very violent, it did not have any effect on her. At first, Yun Chujo was still a little worried, but later, she realized that the power of lightning that surged in was not enough for the two of them, so she began acting arrogantly. Hey! Little weakling in the sky, can you show me some strength? This is too weak. Are you all so unmotivated when it comes to the lightning tribulations? Why are you getting worse each time? Little weakling, hurry up and strike. I haven't even finished my lunch yet and you've interrupted me. You're so rude. Oh right, are you a male or female cloud? I heard that it's not as tiring when you have a male and female team. Why don't you guys form a team next time? You can strike to your heart's content. You're such a weak lightning bolt. It's like scratching an itch. It's really not satisfying. The dark clouds in the sky began to emit white smoke. Strike. Strike. Kill this scourge. It was really too hateful. The tribulation lightning that was as thick as a wrist continuously struck down. Yun Chujo had two little ancestors in her dantian. It was simply too easy, was it not? However, the nearby trees and land were affected. Soon, a deep pit was formed where Yun Chujo was. Di Baiming could hear Yun Chujo mumbling non-stop at the bottom of the pit, "Tisk, damn lightning. Why did it strike so hard? It's a pity that this spirit potato is so hot. This one is alright. It's charred on the outside but tender on the inside. Not bad. Not bad. Prince Charming, do you want to eat the roasted potatoes? Using heavenly lightning to strike it is better than using a stove to roast it. I don't want any." The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched. Even at a time like this, you can still think of eating. It's okay if you don't want to eat it. I'll eat it myself. It's charred on the outside but tender on the inside. It's really not bad. I didn't expect for the heavenly lightning strikes to be so weak, but the potatoes turned out not bad. I might as well become a chef in the future. Yun Chujo grumbled as she ate. The dark clouds in the sky was about to go crazy from anger. The lightning. The lightning. The lightning. Am not the chef who roasts potatoes for you. You're fucking infuriating me to death. In a fit of anger, the dark clouds simply strike the spiritual potato in Yunchujia's hand. I'll strike this thing into charcoal and have you eat that. Yunchujio had just peeled a roasted spiritual potato and was about to eat it when it was turned into ashes by the lightning. This fellow was immediately enraged. Fuck. This is too much. It's fine if you strike me. It's shameful to waste food. Be careful not to waste food lest you make a little dark cloud with defects. The dark cloud was so angry. Strike. Strike. It had to strike the wicked Yunchujio to death that day. Unfortunately, no matter how it hacked, Yunchujio was still alive and kicking in the pit. Moreover, she was constantly showing off and provoking people. Yes, angry cloud. The dark cloud's heart was broken. Who can tell me why this Yunchujio had become even more abnormal after not seeing her for a few days? Oh, the dark cloud was a blue, thin shiitake mushroom. 1. Chapter 352, Dark Clouds with White Smoke. After the dark clouds struck randomly, it floated away with white smoke. The disciples of Spirit Radiance sect pointed at the dark cloud in the sky and said, "Ah, this is interesting. Why is that lump of dark cloud giving off white smoke? I thought it was going to rain, but that didn't happen, right? Why is there so much thunder behind Middle Peak today? On top of that, they're all purple heavenly thunder. Who knows? It's not just today. Do you remember the last time? It was even more powerful than this time. The thunderstorm lasted for a full 16 hours. It was so scary. Is there treasure at the back of the mountain? Forget it. If there was, how could the sect leader not dig it out? Then why is there always purple lightning? It's really strange. Who knows? Maybe God doesn't like that hill." Yunchujio waited for the dark clouds to drift away before shouting at Di Biming, "Prince Charming, I want to change my clothes. You stand guard and don't let those old hooligans come over." Di Biming's mouth twitched and he nodded lightly. Yunchujio took off her tattered clothes and changed into a new set of sect uniform. Then, she flew up on the chopping board. Di Biming saw Yunchujio's appearance and could not help but smile. The hair that had grown out with great difficulty was hacked off again. Her face was also covered in ashes. Yunchujio touched her head and said self-deprecatingly, "This hair of mine is really in line with a poem. The wildfire cannot be burnt out, but the spring breeze can make it grow again." Di Biming raised his eyebrows. "Didn't I give you a hair growth pill? Why aren't you using it?" "I was afraid of being exposed in the past, but am not anymore. Now, we can be considered to have gone from sneaking around to being above board." "Hee hee. Prince Charming, can you give me another set of clothes? My sect uniform cannot withstand being hacked. Fortunately, I have you to keep watch. Otherwise, everyone would have seen me. It's best if you give me a lightning-proof hat." Yunchujio clung to Di Biming's arm. Di Biming frowned. "Black Thing is right. If I'm not around when she breaks through next time, won't she be seen by others? I have to find a good defensive robe for her. It would be best if it's an immortal item." Yunchujio saw that Di Biming was silent and thought that he did not agree, so she began to act shamelessly. "Prince Charming, are you reluctant to it to me?" "Humph. If you don't give it to me, I'll strip you of this robe." As Yunchujio spoke, she began to strip Di Biming of his clothes. He was still thinking where he could get Yunchujio an immortal item robe, so he did not stop her immediately. "Cough. Cough. Little Jiu. Stop." When Master Xianyuan and the others rushed over, they saw Yunchujio desperately stripping young Master Dis clothes. It was simply unsightly. Master Xuanyuan's old face turned red. This Yunchujio is too unrestrained. Could it be that Master D likes this behavior? Only then did Di Biming realize that his clothes had been torn into a mess by Yun Chuzhou. He hurriedly tidied his clothes and glared at Yun Chuzhou. Then, he nodded at Master Xianyuan as a form of greeting. Yun Chuzhou was not the slightest bit embarrassed that she had been caught. She smiled and said, "Master Xianyuan, my idol said that he would give me a robe. I usually don't ask others for things that I can do myself, so I wanted to just take it." Master Xianyuan felt that he had nowhere to put his face. It was too embarrassing. You can do it yourself without asking others for help. Why do I get a feeling that you were molesting a good man? Chapter 353, Breakthrough. Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. Stop fooling around. Why did you summon the heavenly lightning twice in a day? And this time, the power seems to be even stronger than the previous one. Could it be that you've broken through again? Yun Chuzhou sighed, "Sigh, it didn't meet my expectations. I'm still too weak." The crowd could not see Yun Chuzhou's true spiritual power and thought that she had failed to break through, so they comforted her, "Little Jiu, this is very normal. Most disciples don't succeed every time they break through. Just work harder next time. Yeah, cultivation is not something that can be achieved overnight. Take your time. How long has it been since you broke through to the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm last time? Cultivation can be a dangerous thing. Don't be impatient." Yun Chuzhou touched her nose. Cough cough. Who said that I failed to break through? I only rose 2 levels, so I'm a little disappointed. I thought that I could break through to the 8th level of spirit enhancement realm this time. But in the end, I only reached the 6th level of spirit enhancement realm. Everyone was speechless. Geniuses and us ordinary people are indeed 2 different kinds of people. You fucking leveled up 2 levels all of a sudden, and you're still sighing. Are you deliberately trying to anger us? Ordinary disciples would be ecstatic even when they level up once, okay? Di Biming glanced at Yun Chuzhou from the side. Black Thing really didn't even blink when she lied. The 6th level. She was already at level 8 spirit enhancement before she leveled up. Not leveling up and instead regressing was unheard of. Master Xianyuan and the others were already speechless. They had just said a lot of comforting words. What else could they say now? Could it be that what we said just now was all nonsense and you pretended not to hear it? Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and decided to change the topic, so she said, "Master Xianyuan, I want change my residence for the time being. It's convenient to be struck by lightning in the future, so as to avoid hurting others." Master Xianyuan nodded. That's good too. Anyway, the amount of spiritual essence won't hinder your cultivation. I'll order the back of the middle peak to be a forbidden area so that you can go, practice. Master Xianyuan originally wanted to say that it would be more convenient for her to be struck by lightning, but he changed his words after thinking about it. Master Xianyuan, if there's nothing else, my Prince Charming and I will go back. I'm so dirty right now. I need to go back and take a hot bath. Yun Chuzhou pointed at her dirty little face and said. Master Xianyuan nodded. After Di Biming nodded at everyone, he was dragged away by Yun Chuzhou. Master Xianyuan and the others stood where they were and watched the 2 leave. Then, they heard Yun Chuzhou say, "Prince Charming, let's take a bath together later." Shut up. Nonsense. Tisk, Prince Charming, are you shy? It's not like we haven't taken a bath before. Everyone was in a mess. Oh my god. Why did our Spirit Radiance sect have a female pervert? Oh, Master Linghua, do you know what kind of disciple you have? If other sects knew that we have such a pervert, little ancestor Yun, we would have nowhere to put our old faces. Cough cough. Everyone, Yun Chuzhou is still young and doesn't have a mother to teach her. It's inevitable that her personality will be a little off. She's naive and romantic. What she says may not be what we think it is. Master Xianyuan coughed dryly twice. He felt that he might really have catch a cold since he coughed several times in such a short period of time. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently. We believe our eyes. Yun Chujio had either stripped or touched that young Master D, and now she even came out said they wanted to bathe together. If she isn't a pervert, then what is she? Chapter 354, Yun Chujio was a little beauty. Yun Chujio was not aware of the resentment of the group of old people behind her as she dragged Di Biming back to the dormitory. Yun Chujio took out a large bathtub from her storage ring and tested the temperature of the water with her hands. She said with satisfaction, "It's so convenient to have a storage ring. Everything can be stored in it." Di Biming raised his eyebrows. "You have bath water in your storage ring?" "Yes. Not only do I have hot bath water, I also have blankets, pillows, towels, pots and pans, seasonings, and everything you could ever think of. Even if I were to be thrown into a place where there's nothing, it would be enough for me to live for 2 to 3 years. Yun Chujio's favorite activity was to gather the wool, so the storage ring was filled with all sorts of things. Di Biming's eyes twitched slightly. "Then you can take your time to wash up. I'll go out and warn you if needed. Don't we have an phone and an een? Why don't you wash up with me?" Yun Chujio blinked her starry eyes as she looked at Di Biming. She felt that teasing the gigolo was a lot of fun. Di Biming's ears turned red as expected. He shouted angrily, "Black thing, I won't forgive you if you continue to spout nonsense." After saying that, Di Biming quickly walked out. No matter how one looked at it, he looked like he was running away in a panic. Yun Chujio let out a laugh that sounded like the rings of silver bells. She took off her clothes and started bathing happily. Ah, the gigolo is really innocent. Teasing the gigolo is the most enjoyable activity in life. Di Biming walked out of the house and took a deep breath before he suppressed the restlessness in his heart. This black thing is really... Sigh, when will she grow up? Di Biming inexplicably thought of Yun Chujio's words, "When the time comes, I will suffocate you with my chest." The feeling of his face blushing and his heart beating surfaced once again. When Yun Chujio jumped out of the shower, she saw Di Biming standing at the door with a flushed face. "Hey! Prince Charming, what are you daydreaming about?" Yun Chujio stretched out her palm and waved it in front of Di Biming's eyes. Di Biming was shocked and said in a panic, "Nothing." "You can wash." Di Biming looked at the little person in front of him and was stunned. Although the little person in front of him did not have any hair, her skin was as white as jade, so tender that it seemed like water could be squeezed out. Her eyelashes were long and thick, and her eyes were bright and lively. Her pink lips were slightly pouting as she looked at him in confusion. Di Biming felt his heart beat violently, and his throat seemed to have closed up. His mind was blank and he could not say anything. Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming looked like a fool, and she could not help but giggle. "Prince Charming, what's wrong with you? Let's go and continue having lunch." "Ah, it should be considered dinner already. After all that, I'm even hungrier." Di Biming was dragged to the side of the stone table by Yun Chujio and finally regained his senses. A strong sense of danger filled his heart. The black thing is becoming more and more beautiful. It's too dangerous. If I'm not by her side, she would definitely attract the covetous eyes of many men. It seems that what I did previously was right. I must let others know that the black thing is mine. After dinner, Yun Chujio leaned back on the recliner and crossed her legs. She took out the hair growth pill and mirror from her storage ring. Then, she jumped down from the chair. Damn! How did I become so good looking? Ha ha ha, as expected, a mask covers 100 ugliness. This little face, these big eyes, this perky little nose bridge, and these pink little lips. Ah, I'm going to be charmed to death by myself. I accidentally became Qingxian continent's #1 beauty. I'm really sorry. Chapter 355, Di Baiming's two-pronged attack. Di Baiming looked at Yun Chuzhou, who kept showing off, and the corner of his eyes twitched a little. Perhaps his worries just now were unnecessary. Only he could take in that random black thing. Yun Chuzhou admired herself for a long time and felt a little unsatisfied. She asked, "Anfeng, do you think I'm beautiful?" Anfeng looked at her and said coldly, "Miss Jiu is very beautiful." Yun Chuzhou nodded in satisfaction and looked at An Yin, who had a poker face. "An Yin, do you think I'm beautiful?" "Yes." An Yin's answer was as simple as usual. Yun Chuzhou did not feel satisfied, so she said, "Little flame, furry, come out. Do you think I'm beautiful?" The rolling pin trembled. "Master, you've really become beautiful." After Yun Chuzhou was struck by the lightning just now, Furry became even more obsequious. "Master, you're too beautiful." "What are the sayings?" "The fish sinks, and goose alights, 1. Outshining the moon and shaming flowers, 2. A peerless beauty capable of causing the downfall of a city. They're all not enough to describe your beauty. Master, your beauty has made the sun and moon lose their luster. Master, your beauty has caused the stars in the sky to lose their luster. Master, you're undoubtedly the #1 beauty." Di Baiming and the other two were dumbfounded. Fuck. This ball of yarn was too good at wheedling. The compliments was too smooth. What a master, and what a tool. It was simply comparable to its master. Yun Chuzhou was so dizzy from the furry's words that she could hardly close her mouth. "Furry, who would have thought you'd have such good points? You're so honest. Your honesty is really great. Here. These are for you and Little Flame." Yun Chuzhou took out 2 roast chickens from her storage ring and gave them to the rolling pin and yarn ball. Yun Chuzhou winked at Di Baiming and asked sweetly, "My Prince Charming, am I beautiful?" Di Baiming had goosebumps all over his body. "Speak properly. What have you become?" Yun Chuzhou secretly cursed him for being a big blockhead who did not get a hint from her flirtatious eyes. She pouted and asked again, "Am I beautiful?" "A little better than black bean sprouts," Di Baiming said lightly. Yun Chuzhou immediately exploded, "Do you have eyes? Do you see how beautiful I am? You're comparing me to black bean sprouts?" Di Baiming's face darkened. "Black thing, are you trying to rebel?" Yun Chuzhou's mouth opened and closed. She gritted her teeth and then smiled obsequiously. "Prince Charming, I'm praising you. The black bean sprouts is such a beautiful metaphor. From now on, it'll be a bean sprout fairy." "Damn you, Tsundere. You just healed a couple days ago and now you're crazy again. Just you wait, gigolo. Sooner or later, it'll make you pay me back with interest." Di Baiming hummed lightly. He felt that it was necessary to manage the black thing. Recently, he had been too indulgent with her. If I wasn't by her side, wouldn't she turn the world upside down? Who knows how many idiots she would attract? Di Baiming felt that his idea was not bad. He wanted to use both methods. On one hand, he wanted to let the people of Spirit Radiance sect know that Black Thing was his person so that they would not have any ideas about her. On the other hand, he wanted to re-establish his authority in front of her so that she would not get carried away and attract bees and butterflies. That was right. That was what he was going to do. Thus, that night, no matter how coquettishly Yun Chuzhou acted, Di Baiming was determined not to sing the lullaby. He even reprimanded her with a straight face, "Black Thing, don't push your luck. If you continue to cause trouble, I won't forgive you. In the future, you'll have to buy all your food with your own money." Yun Chuzhou cursed the gigolo in her heart a few hundred times before falling asleep. Chapter 356, Manners over Lust. The next day, Yun Chuzhou and Di Baiming had just finished their breakfast when Yun Chuzi and the others arrived. Yun Chuzi and the others were busy cleaning up their new residence the day before and only heard news about Yun Chuzhou at night. That she had gotten involved with a handsome man, and something about how all the good cabbages had been eaten by pigs. 1. They even encountered conflict with a few female disciples who were gossiping. At that time, they wanted to find Yun Chujio and ask her about it. In the end, they saw that it was already late, and they believed that little Jiu would not act rashly. That was why they decided to go over and clarify in the morning. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Yun Chujio hopped to the entrance and welcomed the 6 people into the courtyard. Yun Chuzi and the others were shocked when they saw Yun Chujio. How did little Jiu suddenly become so beautiful? Little Jiu, you. How did you become beautiful? Yun Chuki asked in surprise. Yun Chujio immediately began to show off. Have I? Natural beauty is hard to give up. Gold will shine eventually. I've always been very low-key to hide my beauty, but I didn't expect you to find out. The corners of Yun Chuzi and the others' eyes twitched, and then they saw Di Baiming standing in the middle of the courtyard. They finally understood why those female disciples were so crazy to slander little Jiu. Such an outstanding man indeed had the ability to make other men feel inferior and make women go crazy for him. However, when the woman who went crazy for him was her sister, it did not feel good at all. Even though she was intimidated by Di Baiming's aura, Yun Chuzi still asked Yun Chujio seriously, who is he? Why is he in your courtyard so early in the morning? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and said with a smile, he is the master I mentioned. However, we fell in love at first sight. Now. He's mine. What the hell? Yun Chuzi and the others were dumbfounded. Master? Fell in love at first sight. He's yours. Yun Chu immediately exploded, little Jiu, what did you say? Have you already done it? Seeing that the misunderstanding was getting deeper, Yun Chujio quickly said, no. No. We've always practiced manners over lust. I'm still young. How can I do that kind of thing? This lady silently added in her heart, we've only held each other's hands, hugged each other's waists, and kissed each other on the lips. Little Jiu, come out. We have something to tell you. Yun Chu dragged Yun Chujio out of the courtyard, and Yun Chuzi and the others surrounded her. Little Jiu, you're still young. Marriage is no child's play. Don't be willful. Yun Chu said seriously. Don't worry. Only I can cheat others. No one can cheat me. Moreover, you have to act early. You've seen that those women are like wolves and tigers. If I don't watch them closely, my Prince Charming will definitely be eaten by them. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Yun Chu and the others tried to persuade her for a while. Seeing that Yun Chujio was determined to be with that young Master D, they had no choice but to give up trying to persuade her. Little Jiu's idea was pretty good. In any case, young Master D seemed to be more reliable than that Baimoyu, so they could only let her be. Little Jiu, if you really like that young Master D, we won't stop you. However, you're still young now, so you mustn't do that kind of thing. Firstly, it's not good for your body. Secondly, since ancient times, to become someone's wife is to become a concubine. You mustn't be willful about it. Yun Chu said seriously. Yun Chuji's heart warmed. Only those who truly cared about me would think so extensively. Fifth sister, don't worry. I know what to do. I'm still young. The most important thing now is to improve my spiritual power. As for the love between a man and a woman, just let it be. Little Jiu, I heard that young Master D is staying at your place tonight. Yun Chuzi asked with a frown. Yun Chujio blinked and concocted a lie. Yes, he's staying at my place because he wants to teach me some cultivation methods. You guys know that I have Thunder Spirit Root and that my cultivation method is different from yours. Did you guys see the heavenly thunder yesterday? They were all here to strike me. If it wasn't for my Prince Charming protecting me, I would have long choked on my farts. Chapter 357, Today is a good day. Yunchuzi and the others were stunned by Yunchuji's words. They believed her, having recalled the two terrifying lightning strikes from the day before. Brothers and sisters, let's go. I'll introduce him to you. In the future, he might be your brother-in-law. Yunchuji said with a smile. Yunchuzi and the others were speechless when they saw Yunchuji's eager attitude. Little Jiu, can you be a little more reserved, like a proper girl? Prince Charming, this is my fourth brother, fifth sister, sixth brother, seventh sister, eighth brother, and Miss Ching Si. This is my Prince Charming, Di Bei. Just as Yunchuji was hesitating, deciding whether to give them his real name or fake name, Di Baiming nodded slightly at the crowd. Di Baiming. Greetings. Yunchuji saw that Di Baiming not only took the initiative to introduce himself, but was also humble and polite. He immediately felt that he was very respectful toward them. There was a saying that goes, a man who respects your family is a man who truly likes you. Indeed. Although the Prince Charming was arrogant, he was still quite reliable at critical moments. Di Baiming greeted them and took out spirit fruits and pastries from his storage ring and placed them on the stone table. He motioned for everyone to sit and talk. Although Yunchuzi and the others were a little reserved, in order to test their future brother-in-law's character, they sat down anyway. Please eat. These pastries and fruits are really delicious. I like them the most. Yunchuji stuffed the pastries and spirit fruits into everyone's hands and then picked up a piece for herself. Di Baiming picked up the teapot and helped everyone fill up the teacups. Then, he handed a cup of tea to Yunchuji. I've tested it. It's not too hot. Drink it. Yunchuji was feeling a little thirsty, so she took the teacup and drank it all in a few gulps. Then, she started chatting with Yunchuzi and the others. Yunchuzi and the others saw that not only was Di Baiming's spiritual power superb, he was also handsome. On top of that, it was rare for a person to be so considerate to little Jiu. No wonder little Jiu was moved. He was indeed a good candidate for a husband. After chatting for a while, Yunchuzi and the others took their leave. Although Di Baiming tried his best to restrain his aura, the noble air of a superior still made Yunchuzi and the others uncomfortable. Oh right, fourth brother, your spiritual power is almost consolidated. You can continue to take the spirit gathering pill. Yunchuzi and the others took their leave after agreeing. My Prince Charming, you did well. Yunchuji said with a cheeky smile. Di Baiming hummed lightly. He had his own plans. Black Thing values her family the most. Now that I've given them an impression, they can help me keep an eye on her to prevent her from attracting bees and butterflies. A voice transmission talisman in Di Baiming's storage ring started vibrating. Di Baiming used his spiritual sense to listen to it. Black Thing, you've just broken through and I don't think the heavenly lightning will come again for a short period of time. I'll leave for some time. Don't mess around, or I will not forgive you. Especially with that idiot Shui Wuji. Don't bother with him. Yunchuji rolled her eyes and pretended to be reluctant that he was leaving. Do you have to leave? If you leave, who will sing me a lullaby at night? Who will pat me to sleep? An Feng and An Yin almost fell to the ground in fright when they heard Yunchuji's words. What? Our revered one sings lullabies. Pats Miss Jo to sleep. Oh my god, isn't that scene too strange? Di Baiming glared at Yunchuji. Don't spout nonsense. Anyway, cultivate well and don't get involved with men. Don't cause trouble. I'm leaving. Yunchuji waved her handkerchief and sent Di Baiming away. Then, she took out a reclining chair and lay on it to bask in the sun. She hummed happily, today is a good day. I can do whatever I want, master. What level are you at now? The rolling pin asked curiously. She said that she was at the 6th level of refining. What a lie. She was already on the 8th level before she leveled up. Chapter 358, Mental Damage Fee. Yun Chujio said faintly, Spirit Enhancement? You're underestimating your master. Your master is already at the second level of the Spirit Cultivator realm. Master, you've advanced 3 levels all of a sudden. The rolling pin was dumbfounded. Was it not said that humans had a huge bottleneck from the 9th level of the Spirit Enhancement realm to the 1st level of the Spirit Cultivator realm? Why did his master jump from the 8th level of the Spirit Enhancement realm to the 2nd level of the Spirit Cultivator realm all of a sudden? This did not follow the rules. It probably has something to do with the primordial chaos vitality pill that the gigolo gave me. If I wasn't afraid that my foundation wouldn't be stable if I rose too much, I think I would have broke through to the 4th level of Spirit Cultivator realm. Yun Chujio said lightly. The rolling pin finally understood why Patriarch Linghua wanted to take Yun Chujio as his disciple. This master of his was really amazing. She was an absolute monster. Just as Yun Chujio was feeling a little sleepy, the sound of footsteps came from outside the courtyard. Excuse me, is junior sister Yun here? A delicate voice asked. Yun Chujio's courtyard had a protective array activated, so the people outside could not see what was happening inside, but she could see what was happening outside clearly. Are these people here for the beauty contest? She saw dozens of female disciples standing outside the courtyard, all dressed beautifully. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. She did not have any guests in her courtyard for a year. These people must be here for the gigolo. Since that was the case, do not blame her for being ruthless. Yun Chujio did not turn off the protective array. Instead, she walked out of the courtyard and said with a smile, Senior sisters, is there anything you need from me? Those female disciples initially thought that young Master D would come out when they saw that the door was open. Each of them were standing in their best posture. When they saw that only Yun Chujio came out alone, they could not help but feel a little discouraged. Moreover, why was Yun Chujio much more beautiful than before? Young Master D must have given her some beautifying medicinal pills. She was really lucky. Yun Chujio, turn off the protective array. We want to see young Master D. A woman wearing the uniform of an inner disciple said with a stiff tone. Yun Chujio curled her lips. How should I address you, senior sister? Su Yan, the inner disciple of West Peak. Yun Chujio, why haven't you gotten rid of the protective array? Is this how you treat your guests? Su Yan said arrogantly. Young Master D isn't feeling well and is resting. He can't receive guests now. Yun Chujio sighed and said. What? Young Master D is sick. He was fine yesterday. Why is he sick today? Did you do something? Yun Chujio, did you make young Master D sick? Yun Chujio, let me in quickly. I have pills with me. Yes. I also have nourishing herbs. Let me in. Sigh, I didn't expect that all the senior sisters would be so concerned about young Master D. I'm very touched. Please wait a moment. I'll go in and ask for young Master D's opinion. Yun Chujio entered the courtyard with a whoosh. After a while, Yun Chujio came out. Senior sisters, young Master D said that he appreciates everyone's kindness. He really can't see any guests today. If you feel bad for him, you can leave the gifts here. Yun Chujio said with a smile. After hearing Yun Chujio's words, those girls immediately stuffed things into Yun Chujio's arms. This ginseng is very nourishing. Help me pass it to young Master D. This is a body-strengthening pill. After eating it, it can strengthen the body. You must help me pass it to young Master D. These kumquat fruits can clear and reduce bodily heat. Boil it with rock sugar and drink it. It's very nourishing. If young Master D finds it troublesome to do so, you can look for me to help you boil it. There were more and more things piling up. Yun Chujio could not carry them anymore. She simply asked them to put the things on the ground and then sent them away. Yun Chujio put all the things into her storage ring and then entered the courtyard happily. Humph! How dare you covet my Prince Charming? I'll take these things as compensation for the mental damage caused by stress. Just as Yun Chujio was taking inventory of the spoils of war, Master Xuanyuan's voice rang out from her identity jade token. Yun Chujio, come to the drawing room immediately. 1. Chapter 359, has nothing to do with me. Yun Chujio was very puzzled. Why was Master Xianyuan looking for her? Could it be that he wanted to reward her? Yun Chujio immediately rode on the chopping board and went to the drawing room. Yun Chujio had just entered the drawing room when she felt several malicious gazes looking at her. She glanced at them and realized that they were all old acquaintances. Sitting on the guest seat was the sect master of Heavenly Gates sect, Du Gai. Next to him sat a few elders from their sect. One of the elders with a hooked nose glared at Yun Chujio with bloodshot eyes. He looked as if he wanted to eat her up. Behind these elders stood a few disciples from Heavenly Gates sect. Su Yenran was also among them. She had a cold smile on her face. Yun Chujio first bowed to Master Xianyuan before greeting the people of the Heavenly Gates sect with a smile. Sect leader Du. Hello, old friends of the Heavenly Gates sect. I'm so happy to see you all. I've almost had enough showing off the 2 million spirit stones from before. Are you here to give me spirit stones again? The people of the Heavenly Gates sect were so angry that their noses were almost crooked. This Yun Chujio really brought up the wrong topic. She was really detestable. Yun Chujio, pay for my grandson's life. I'm going to kill you. Elder Zhang slammed the table and was actually about to make a move. Master Xianyuan snorted in displeasure. Master Du, your Heavenly Gates sect is really looking down on Spirit Radiance sect. If you're going to do this, please leave our sect. Our sect doesn't welcome you. Du Gai stopped Elder Zhang. Elder Zhang, the right and wrong will be determined. Don't act rashly. Master Xianyuan, I sent Zhang Xiong and the other 3 to be killed by Yun Chujio and the others. We're here to seek justice. Master Xianyuan sneered. Yun Chujio, is what Master Du said the truth? Yun Chujio was stunned at first, then she stretched her neck and began to howl. Oh my God, I've been wronged. It's a great injustice. The corner of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched. He pretended to be surprised and said, don't worry, I won't wrong you. Just tell me the truth. Yun Chujio wiped her tears with her sleeve and then said with grief and indignation, for the sake of the peace between the 2 sects, I didn't intend to say such a dirty thing, but since the Heavenly Gates sect came to find me, I can only tell you the truth. After I was transported to the ancient dimension, I first arrived at a desert. With great difficulty, I finally left the desert and arrived at a valley. Suddenly, I saw my 5th sister, 7th sister, and senior sister Su being escorted forward by 5 male disciples of the Heavenly Gates sect. As they walked, they even said some unsightly words. They said that the girls of Spirit Radiance sect are just like water spirits. It's a waste not to play with them. They said that the people of Spirit Radiance sect are all good-for-nothings. They actually didn't dare to say anything when they saw us taking away these 3 girls. When Spirit Radiance sect's elders heard those words, they were instantly enraged. The Heavenly Gates sect was really going too far. Such scum deserved to die. Even if it was really Yun Chujio who killed them, they would still try their best to hold on until the end. Yun Chujio stole a glance at everyone's reactions and then continued, although I, Yun Chujio, am small and weak, I can't just stand by and watch them die. I followed them from afar. Later, the 5 people from Heavenly Gates sect discovered an earth-rank, high-grade bright lotus plant. They pounced on it like wolves and threw my 3rd sister and the others to the side to fight for the bright lotus plant. I took this opportunity to save them. It was really karma, as they did not expect that the bright lotus plant would be guarded by a group of silver-horned 5-ringed snakes. When we left, They were already surrounded by the group of 5 ringed, silver-horned snakes. As for whether they were dead or not, I don't know. Nonsense. If they encountered the 5 ringed, silver-horned snakes, why didn't they crush the jade token when they knew they were no match for them? You must have used a trick to kill my grandson. Elder Zhang shouted ferociously. Yun Chujiu shrugged her shoulders and spread her hands. If they didn't crush the jade token, then it's because they're mentally ill. What does it have to do with me? You're not here to act like a scoundrel just because you lost a bet to our sect, right? How shameless. Chapter 360, Earthfire. After saying this, Yun Chujiu slipped behind Elder Chu, afraid that Elder Zhang would get angry and hurt her. Elder Zhang's face was livid with anger. Master Xianyuan, there were 3 other disciples with Yun Chujiu at that time. I want to talk to them. Master Xianyuan sneered and then sent Yun Chu, Yun Chuki, and Su Yun over. When the 3 of them saw the people from the Heavenly Gates sect, they knew that something had happened. They felt uneasy. Yun Chujiu stood behind Elder Chu and shouted, I've already told them everything. Zhang Xiong and the others are worse than pigs and dogs. They suffered retribution and were eaten by the 5 ringed, silver-horned snake. They deserve it. Don't be afraid. Just tell us the truth. Master will make the decision for us. Yun Chu and the other 2 immediately felt a little less nervous. They had already agreed on what they wanted to say, so they could just get on with it. The 3 of them told them what had happened. It was exactly the same as what Yun Chujiu had said. Yun Chuki even started to cry while she was talking. We always thought that Heavenly Gates sect was a reputable sect. We didn't expect those 5 people to be worse than animals. If we hadn't met that bright lotus, and if we didn't have little Jiu, we would have died of humiliation. We begged the sect master to make a decision for us. Yun Chujiu did not expect Yun Chuki to perform so well. She gave Yun Chuki 32 likes in her heart. My 7th sister definitely has a future. Her acting skills aren't inferior to mine. Yun Chujiu jumped out from behind Elder Chu, she hugged Yun Chuki and started wailing. 7th sister, stop talking. You're making things difficult for the sect master. Can't you see that the sect master of the Heavenly Gates sect has brought a group of people here? They're planning to kill us. Our lives are so miserable. The corner of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched violently and he coughed dryly. Don't cry anymore. I'll find out the truth and give you justice. Yun Chujiu immediately stopped wailing after hearing what Master Xianyuan said. She dragged Yun Chu and the others behind the elders of Spirit Radiance sect so that they would not be hurt by the people of Heavenly Gates sect. Master Xianyuan sneered, Master Du, you've heard what happened. If we want justice, it should be our sect asking for it from your sect. However, since the culprit has already been punished, let's forget about it. Du Gai laughed coldly. Master Xianyuan, this is just your side of the story. After all, we haven't seen what happened in the mystic realm with our own eyes. The deaths of Zhang Xiong and the others are indeed related to Yun Chujiu and the others. I have a presumptuous request. Hand the 4 of them over to me and we'll take them back to Heavenly Gates sect. This matter will be treated as if it never happened. Otherwise, our Heavenly sect will cut off your sect's earth fire supply. The people from Spirit Radiance sect were instantly enraged. Earth fire was different from ordinary fire, and was especially suitable for refining pills and weapons. Although refining flints could also be used to refine pills, they were not cheap. Secondly, refining flints were not as stable as earth fire, so higher-level pills would be more stable if made with earth fire. Refining pills was still fine. Refining weapons was where the trouble was at. Refining flints could only be used to refine some low-grade spirit weapons, and spirit weapons above middle grade could only be refined with earth fire. The Heavenly Gates sect happened to control an earth fire mountain range, so many sects and forces paid a fee for Heavenly Gates sect to send them earth fire in special containers. If Heavenly Gates sect really stopped providing earth fire to them, it would be a great loss to Spirit Radiance sect. Du Gai saw that the people from Spirit Radiance sect were bewildered. A smug look flashed in his eyes. I'm not an unreasonable person. After all, our two sects have always been on good terms. I'll provide your sect with two choices. One is to hand over Yunchujiu and the other two, and the other is to give 1/10 of Spirit Radiance sect's share of spirit stones to Heavenly Gates sect. Chapter 361, Fire Spirit Beast. Master Xianyuan and the other elders immediately understood Heavenly Gates sect's intentions. They were using the death of Zhang Xiong and the others as an excuse to force Spirit Radiance sect to transfer 1/10 of their spirit stones. The Heavenly Gates sect was really despicable. If they wanted to fight and kill, Spirit Radiance sect was not afraid of them. However, earth fire only existed in Heavenly Gates sect's territory. They were basically forcing Spirit Radiance sect to give up their share of spirit stones. 1/10 of their spirit stones was not a small amount. Most importantly, it was a long-term effective share. It could not be calculated with numbers. They were truly sinister. No matter what, Heavenly Gates sect was not at a loss. If Spirit Radiance sect handed over Yunchujiu and the others, then their reputation would plummet. The disciples would have no sense of belonging to such a sect. If they did not hand over the 4 people, then they could only give up their share of spirit stones. Otherwise, Spirit Radiance sect would encounter huge obstacles in refining pills and weapons. Although Master Xianyuan was anxious in his heart, his expression was calm. Master Dugu, everyone has come from afar. It's better rest at the guest house first. It won't be too late for us to discuss this even after discussing what had happened. Du Gai was full of confidence. He sneered arrogantly and left with the people of Heavenly Gates sect. Master Xianyuan comforted Yun Chu and the other two and gestured for them to leave first. However, he kept Yun Chujiu behind. Everyone, what do you think? Master Xianyuan looked at everyone. The Heavenly Gates sect is really going too far. Naturally, we can't hand them over. These 4 children are clearly victims. Moreover, those bastards deserve to die. Even if little Jiu killed them, it would still be a good kill. That's right, we definitely can't hand them over. The Heavenly Gates sect has been planning this for a long time. Even if there isn't such a thing, they will find other excuses to blackmail us. This earth fire being controlled by people was bound to be a drawback sooner or later. Without earth fire, refining pills would still fine, but refining weapons would come to a halt. If we were to buy spirit weapons, it would be too expensive. Secondly, there would also be hidden dangers if we bought from outsiders. But 1/10 of the spirit stone share is really a huge loss. The Heavenly Gates sect has a huge appetite. Moreover, with this, it's inevitable that they will repeat their old tricks in the future. They will gradually erode our spirit stone share. Without the support of the spirit stones, Spirit Radiance sect will be in danger. Yun Chujiu raised her claws and asked weakly, everyone, can I ask, what exactly is earth fire? Why does only Heavenly Gates sect have it? Can't we use something else to replace it? There's a strange beast called the Fire Spirit Beast in Qingxian continent. The Fire Spirit Beast feeds on ores, and after it digests the ores, it will burn on its own. Over time, it will form an endless stream of earth fire. Master Xianyuan explained. Yun Chujiu rubbed her chin and blinked her eyes. You mean to say that the earth fire is the burning Fire Spirit Beast's dregs? The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Why did they feel that the earth fire was so wretched after Yun Chujiu's explanation? Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. You can think of it that way too. Then why don't we just catch a Fire Spirit Beast? Why do we have to suffer the wrath of Heavenly Gates sect? Yun Chujiu asked in confusion. Firstly, these beasts are extremely rare, and secondly, they are extremely difficult to catch. It's not only us. The other factions have also sent out large numbers of people to search for them, but they have all returned empty-handed. For thousands of years, only the Heavenly Gates sect managed to catch one by chance. Why don't we steal the one from the Heavenly Gates sect? Yun Chuzhou said slyly. Everyone was speechless. Chapter 362, Candidates to go to the Fire Cave. The fire spirit beast is extremely stubborn. Once it has identified a nest, it will not easily move. Moreover, it lives in the earth fire all year round. Even the people of the Heavenly Gates sect rarely see the beast appear. What's more, us. Even if we can find it, it'll be difficult to capture it in the raging earth fire. Moreover, Heavenly Gates sect is guarding it tightly. We have no chance to take action. Yun Chuzhou nodded. In this case, stealing was definitely not an option. Master Xianyuan, the Heavenly Gates sect came with bad intentions. Why don't we delay it for a month and use this month to find the fire essence beast? If we can find it, everyone will be happy. In the future, we won't have to succumb to Heavenly Gates sect anymore. Even if we can't find it, we can use the month to think of other ways to solve this. Yun Chuzhou said as she rolled her eyes. Master Xianyuan and the others discussed for a while but could not think of any good ideas, so they could only do as Yun Chuzhou suggested. The next morning, the people of the two sects began to discuss again. Du Gai asked with a hint of pride, Master Xianyuan, I wonder how the discussion is going in your sect. Are you going to hand over the people or the share of spirit stones? Du Gai had a 99% chance of winning. This is just the beginning. Our Heavenly Gates sect would exterminate these forces one by one sooner or later. As long as we use the earth fire to blackmail you, I'm not afraid that you won't comply. Master Xianyuan smiled faintly. We definitely won't hand over our people. Naturally, we won't give up our share of spirit stones as well. Du Gai snorted coldly. So you're giving up on the earth fire? Fine. Since that's the case, there's nothing more to say. Farewell. Wait. Du Gai, we both know exactly how Zhang Xiong and the others died. There are some things that can't be said openly. Your Heavenly Gates sect relied on the benefits of the earth fire to plunder so much. Why don't you invite everyone here and well evaluate the situation properly? Master Xuanyuan's face darkened slightly, his tone became unfriendly as well. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The earth fire belongs to Heavenly Gates sect. We can sell it to whoever we want. No one can find fault with our sect. Even though Du Gai said that, he was still unwilling to make a big deal out of this matter. Sect masters, please calm down. Please listen to me. Elder Chu came out to act as a peacemaker. Master Xianyuan and Du Gai both snorted coldly and did not speak anymore. Sect Master Du Gai, the incident happened so suddenly that Spirit Radiance sect was caught off guard. Everyone's opinions are also not unanimous. Why don't we give it a few more months to discuss before we decide on an answer? Elder Chu was shrewd, using the words, a few months, to bargain. Du Gai's eyes flickered, and after weighing the pros and cons, he sneered and said, all right. For the sake of our friendship, I'll give you a month's time. If after a month, you won't hand over your people nor share of spirit stones, then well cut off your earth fire supply. Du Gai stood up and left. Before he left, Elder Zhang cast a sinister glance at Yun Chuzhou, his eyes filled with killing intent. Su Yanran also sneered. Yun Chuzhou, even if Spirit Radiance sect doesn't hand you over, they will still vent their anger on you because of the lost in share of spirit stones. You will never have a bright future. After the people from Heavenly Gates sect left, those from Spirit Radiance sect began to discuss their next plan. First, Elder Jean from the refining department should quickly forge some important spirit tools just in case. Second, Elder Qi from the refining room should also refine all the high-grade spirit herbs he has. Third, I'll personally visit the other major factions to see if there's any change in the situation. Last but not least, and most importantly, send a group of people to the fire cave to capture the fire spirit beasts. Who is willing to lead the team? Everyone looked at each other. It was not that they were afraid of danger. It was that this operation was very important to Spirit Radiance sect. They had to weigh their own weight. Chapter 363, Beating the Crap Out of People. Elder Shao stood and said, Sect Master, I'll go. I went with my master once before. Although I didn't successfully capture the fire spirit beast, I've grasped some rules. Maybe I can use my knowledge. Master Xianyuan nodded. He thought for a while and said, Elder Shao and Elder Chu will lead the team and recruit an additional 2 elders from each peak. Bring all the new disciples who have been promoted to the inner sect with you. Tell the public that you'll lead the new disciples for the trial. It's urgent. Well, set off early tomorrow morning. Yun Chuzhou stretched out her little claws. Bring me along too. Master Xianyuan nodded. Sure. But you can't mess around. Your safety is the most important thing. Yun Chuzhou nodded, but she was cursing in her heart. Why did everyone have to tell her not to mess around? When had she ever messed around? Seriously. Maybe she would make a great contribution this time. At that time, she would ride back on the fire spirit beast and blind everyone's eyes. Early the next morning, Elder Shao and Elder Chu led 10 elders, 29 new disciples, and an extra Yun Chuzhou, and left Spirit Radiance sect on a flying spirit tool. And Feng looked at the flying spirit tool that had gone into the distance and quickly followed it. This Miss Jiu is really troublesome. Where is she going? He was puzzled. Every time Miss Jiu was in danger, why was he unable to help because of restrictions? Could it be that heavens had arranged it on purpose? After setting out, Elder Chu finally told everyone the purpose of this trip. Having you disciples here was just a ploy to deceive others. The fire cave is far from Spirit Radiance sect and will take at least 10 days of travel. Every 1 or 2 days, I'll take you guys out for a walk. All of you should be careful with your words and actions, and don't cause any trouble. Everyone nodded, but when the elders returned to their cabins, Baimoru said unhappily, Yun Chuzhou, it's you again. If you didn't provoke the people of Heavenly Gates sect, would our sect be threatened by them? If I were you, I would take the initiative to commit suicide so as not to implicate the sect. Yun Chushan said softly from the side, Junior Sister Bai, don't say that. This person is selfish. She would not be willing to sacrifice herself. It's useless for you to even say this since some people are very thick-skinned. In the past, they've implicated the family at home. Now, they're implicating the sect. After everyone heard Elder Chu's words, they already felt a slight resentment toward Yun Chuzhou and the others. Now that they heard what Baimoru and Yun Chushan said, they felt that their words were not completely unreasonable. That's right, why should the sect take the blame for your trouble? Yun Chu, Yun Chuki, and Su Yun blushed. They felt very guilty already, and now that they saw everyone's condemning and contemptuous gazes, they felt even more embarrassed. Are you guys done? Yun Chuzhou asked indifferently. Baimoru snorted coldly. We're done. Could it be that what we said was wrong? Yun Chuzhou suddenly stretched out her hand and gave Baimoru and Yun Chushan 2 tight slaps. Then, she kicked them away. The 2 of them crashed into the wall and fell to the ground. All of this happened in a flash. Baimoyu, who was standing next to them, did not even have time to react when he saw Baimoru and Yun Chushan lying on the ground and screaming. Yun Chuzhou, what are you doing? Baimoyu shouted angrily. What are you doing? Teach them not to talk nonsense in the future. Do you have a problem with that? Do you want me to teach you too? Yun Chuzhou hugged her shoulders and shook her legs arrogantly. Chapter 364, How could I be wrong? A few male disciples helped Baimoru and Yun Chushan to their feet. Yun Chushan questioned them with tears in her eyes. Yun Chujo, how are we talking nonsense? If it weren't for the few of you, would Heavenly Gates sect come to threaten Spirit Radiance sect? Those male disciples also glared at them angrily. That's right. Yun Chujo, it's your fault to begin with. What's wrong with what junior sister Bai and junior sister Yun said? What right do you have to hit people? Yun Chujo ignored the male disciples and looked at the Bai siblings and Yun Chushan. She said coldly, Have you heard of this saying? If you want to condemn someone, don't worry about the pretext. Heavenly Gates sect is just looking for trouble. Moreover, we didn't kill that bullshit of a person, Zhang Xiong. If we really traced it back, the culprit should be the three of you. When my fifth sister and the others were entangled by Zhang Xiong and the others, they originally wanted to crush the jade token to escape, but you guys said that you wanted to help deal with those 5 people. Unexpectedly, the 3 of you actually abandoned your fellow disciples and ran away with your tails between your legs. That was why fifth sister and the others were caught by Zhang Xiong and his posy. If anyone were to commit suicide to atone for their crimes, it should be the 3 of you scums who didn't care about the lives of your fellow disciples. The 3 of you are already habitual criminals. When you met Su Yanran later, didn't you also run away like cowards? How could you shameless people say that about us? You're truly shameless. Fifth sister, seventh sister, and senior sister Su, lift up your heads. We didn't do anything wrong. Why should we be the victims and let others slander us? Chen Dachuan and the others also came forward to confirm. That's right. At that time, Su Yanran forced us to hand over junior sister Little Jiu. Bai Moyu and the other 2 ran the fastest. At that time, he also admitted that he didn't save junior sister Su Yun and the others. When Bai Moyu saw that Chen Dachuan and the others stood on Yun Chujia's side, his eyes flickered a few times. He snorted coldly and said, "Those who are honest will know." No matter what the situation was at that time, the people that the Heavenly Gates sect wants now are the few of you, Yun Chujo. No matter what you say, it's still an excuse. Yun Chujo, you violated the sect rules by beating your fellow disciples. Just wait to be punished. Bai Moru and Yun Chushan's admirers had already gone to invite Elder Xiao and Elder Chu over. After a while, the elders pushed open the door and entered. Bai Moru and Yun Chushan hurriedly knelt down. Yun Chujo beat the 2 of us for no reason. Elder Xiao, Elder Chu, please do us justice. Elder Xiao frowned. What's going on? Bai Moyu also quickly knelt down and said, Elder Xiao. Moru and junior sister Yun only vented a few words of dissatisfaction. Although those words weren't very pleasant to hear, Yun Chujo shouldn't have beaten her fellow disciples. She even threatened to beat her disciples further. Bai Moru and Yun Chushan's admirers spoke up one after another, confirming that what Bai Moyu said was true. Yun Chuzi, Chen Dachuan, and the others wanted to speak up for Yun Chujo, but they realized that Bai Moyu's words were watertight. They did not know what to say. Everyone was extremely worried. No matter what the reason was, Yun Chujo had violated the sect's rules. They were afraid that she would be punished. Elder Xiao frowned. This Yun Chujo was really troublesome. Yun Chujo, do you know your mistake? Yun Chujia's small body was straight, her small neck was raised. What mistake did I make? The Bai siblings and Yun Chushan had left them in the mystic realm to die and escaped at the last minute. Now, they've bewitched the hearts of the people and dividing our disciples. It's simply a heinous crime. I've already done my utmost to not kill them. Even if Bai Moyu and the other 2 are in the wrong, the law enforcement agency will punish them. What right do you have to use torture on your own? Elder Xiao was a righteous person and was very disgusted by actions that violated the sect rules. Bai Moya's eyes flashed with a smug look. Yun Chujo, you originally provoked the Heavenly Gates sect, and the sect leader and elders were already dissatisfied with you. You actually dare to speak up for yourself when you violated sect rules. Just wait to be punished. Chapter 365, Fire Edelweiss. Yun Chuzi and the others were extremely worried. Just as they were about to kneel down and plead on behalf of Yun Chujo said to Elder Shao with a smile, "Elder Shao, can I have a word with you?" Bai Moyu secretly pursed his lips. "Can I have a word with you? Will Elder Shao still listen to you?" Unexpectedly, Elder Shao saw Yun Chujo desperately winking at him. He did not know what Yun Chujo was up to, so he could only take Yun Chujo out of the room. "Little Pancher, I know that the Bai siblings are related to you, but these two are ingrates. Ah, and that Yun Chushan is not a good person. You don't have to do much. You'll know after observing her. In a while, you can just symbolically punish me. I'm doing this for the sake of Spirit Radiance sect. I'll give up my own reputation. Isn't it easy to deal with me?" Elder Shao was confused by Yun Chuji's words. What nonsense was she talking about? However, when Yun Chujo called out Little Pancher, Elder Shao instantly became 3 times smaller. Yun Chujo did not need to call out her seniority. Not long after, the two of them returned to the room. Elder Shao's face was livid as he said, "Yun Chujo used torture on her own accord and will be withheld of half a year's worth of sect resources. As for the matters within the mystic realm, I'll only punish her after I've investigated thoroughly." After Elder Shao finished speaking, he did not wait for the others to react. He flicked his sleeves and left. Seeing this, Elder Chu and the others also left. Yun Chujo hugged her shoulders and shook her calves. She said arrogantly, "Bai Moru, Yun Chushan, if you continue to spout nonsense, I'll give up the sect's resources for the next 10 years and beat you to the ground." Bai Moru was furious. Elder Shao was clearly an old friend of her grandfather, but she did not expect him to help Yun Chujo. How hateful. Bai Moya's eyes flickered. There was no proof of what was said in the secret realm, and Elder Shao could not do anything to them. The most important thing now was to get rid of Yun Chujo. As long as he got rid of Yun Chujo, Yanran would continue to give him that magical pill, and it would not be long before he could break through again. These new inner sect disciples were divided into 3 groups. The Bai siblings and Yun Chushan were one group, and the followers were mainly male disciples who were interested in Bai Moru and Yun Chushan. Yun Chujo was one group. Aside from the Yun siblings, Qing Si, and Su Yun, there were also Chen Dachuan and the other 8 people. The remaining 3 people, Liao Chuan, Mo Zhua, and Xia Mufeng, had a very close relationship, so the 3 of them formed a group. In the first few days of the journey, they would stop and walk to find some valleys and forests. They would let these disciples hunt demonic beasts and carry out trials. Occasionally, they would stay overnight in some towns for everyone to relax and let their guards down. In fact, Elder Shao and Elder Chu knew that this tactic would only confuse the Heavenly Gates sect for a few days. In the end, they would be able to guess the direction of the group with just one look at the route. However, a few days was enough, at least when they want to send people to intercept them, it would already be too late. After more than 10 days, they flew to a fiery valley. As soon as they got off the flying spirit tool, they felt a wave of heat. As far as their eyes could see, the entire valley was scarlet red. At first, they thought it was earth fire, but after taking a closer look, they realized that it was a kind of scarlet red grass. It was never-ending and looked quite spectacular. These are fire edelweiss. The juice is extremely poisonous. If it gets into a wound or if you accidentally ingest it, it'll instantly be fatal. You guys should be careful. Elder Shao said seriously. Everyone nodded in agreement. Bai Moya's eyes flickered. This fire edelweiss was a good thing. When no one was paying attention, Bai Moyu pretended to tidy up his boots and pulled out a few fire edelweiss to hide in his storage bag. Chapter 366, Red Flame Ants. The fire cave was located deep in the fire valley. After walking for almost a day, they finally arrived at the entrance of the cave. The temperature was getting higher and higher. The elders' spiritual power was better, but the disciples were in a sorry state. They kept wiping their sweat. Yun Chujio was the only one who was leisurely and walking as if nothing happened. The elders were amazed. The heavenly thunder root spirit was really different. To outsiders, Yun Chujio's spiritual power was only at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. The disciples were puzzled. Why is Yun Chujio's spiritual power the lowest, yet nothing's happening to her? That's really strange. The cave is extremely dangerous. You must follow closely behind us and don't act rashly. If anyone dares to act without permission, the sect will punish them. Elder Shao said sternly. Everyone nodded and carefully tailed the elders into the fire cave. Yun Chujio looked around curiously. The scenery inside the fire cave was really unique. The ground was uneven and filled with holes the size of eggs. Above it, there were many jade-like objects hanging down. They were white as snow and sparkling. This girl was trying her best not to break off a few of them. They looked very valuable. Everything remained calm even after they had walked for some time. Nothing happened. Baimoru whispered, "It's not as scary as it was made to sound. In fact, these stones hanging from the ceiling looks really nice. Junior sister Bai is right. This fire cave is just so. It's no big deal. Wait for me." A male disciple called Lu Yongxing said ingratiatingly. Baimoru's heart skipped a beat, and she slowed down her footsteps. The two waited for the person in front to walk a little further away before Lu Yongxing jumped up and broke one of the stones. He said fawningly, "Junior sister, this is for you." Just as Baimoru was about to reach out to receive it, the ground suddenly trembled. Immediately after, several red flame ants drilled themselves out from the holes in the ground. Each ant was half a foot long and had a pair of sharp teeth. Baimoru was so scared that she ran away. The ants did not attack her and instead, went straight for Lu Yongxing. The people in front only heard a scream. When they turned around, they saw that Lu Yongxing's body was densely covered in red ants. Before they could react, only Lu Yongxing's skeleton was left. Those ants were not done with the skeleton. In the blink of an eye, only Lu Yongxing's storage bag was left on the ground. Baimoru ran in front of everyone. Her face was pale and her entire body was trembling. "No, it's not my fault. He was the one who insisted on breaking the jade-like stones." The disciples were stunned by the scene in front of them. Although none of them were cowards and had even killed people with their own hands, the scene in front of them was still too terrifying. Lu Yongxing did not even have a chance to resist and was immediately gnawed by those ants. It was too terrifying. Elder Qi of the East Peak explained, "The white thing on top is not some jade stone, but the eggs of the red flame ants. They usually feed on the fire edelweiss plant and ores underground. As long as their eggs aren't touched, they won't attack humans or demon beasts. You mustn't touch anything in this cave. Otherwise, you'll end up like that disciple." This time round, there was no need to emphasize anymore. These disciples were very obedient and followed the elders carefully. Yun Chujio felt extremely lucky. "Damn, it's a good thing that I held back and didn't make a move. It was a close call. As expected, one shouldn't be too greedy." Chapter 367, Furnace Hot Pot. After walking for another 4 hours, the number of holes in the ground began to decrease, and the number of white jade stones above their heads also began to decrease. Everyone could not help but heave a sigh of relief. They had finally left the territory of the red flame ants. "Everyone, rest here for a while and replenish your strength. There will be fire serpents appearing ahead. Get ready." Elder Shao was the first to sit down on the ground. After eating a fasting pill and drinking some water, he began to meditate and rest. Everyone also took out fasting pills or dry rations and began to eat. Everyone took a deep breath. Why did it smell so good? Everyone followed the smell and looked over. but they were all dumbfounded. They saw Yun Chujo taking out an alchemy furnace and placing a few flint stones under it. Soon, the water in the alchemy furnace began to bubble. What was Yun Chujo doing? Alchemy? Obviously not. Was she cooking noodles? Using an alchemy furnace to cook noodles? Was there really such a thing? Yun Chujo slowly took out a few plates of thin sliced meat from her storage ring and placed them in the alchemy furnace. Then, she took out a small bowl with a long-prepared dipping sauce. Yun Chujo dipped the sliced meat into the dipping sauce and started eating happily. Everyone was dumbfounded. Don't even talk about using an alchemy furnace as a hot pot. The fire cave was already extremely hot, yet you're actually eating meat slices from a hot pot. Are you crazy? Elder Chu smelled the fragrance and went over. Little Joe, this meat slice is really fragrant, but aren't you feeling warm? It's because it's warm that I want to eat hot. Fighting poison with poison. This is very comfortable. Do you want to try some? Yun Chujo ate happily. Elder Chu was waiting for Yun Chujo to say that. Hee, then I'll try it. Yun Chujo helped Elder Chu scoop a small bowl of soup with meat slices. Elder Chu followed Yun Chujo and dipped the meat slices into the sauce and put it into his mouth. Delicious. It's really delicious. The two foodies, one old and one young, ate a total of 10 plates of meat slices. Elder Chu was sweating profusely from eating, but Yun Chujo only had small beads of sweat on her forehead. The heat of the fire cave was far inferior to the heat of being struck by lightning. Moreover, Yun Chujo had the beads spat out by the strange grass in her sleeve. She had relied on it to dispel the extreme heat in the Mystic Realm desert last time. Some disciples smelled the fragrance, and when they saw that Yun Chujo was enjoying her meal, they covertly swallowed their saliva. It was very fragrant. They would definitely give it a try when they went back. Yun Chujia's spiritual power was not that great, but she was definitely very good at eating. Elder Shao looked at the two random foodies and frowned. He endured it and did not say anything. After Yun Chujo had eaten and drunk her fill, she put away the pill refining furnace and took out a recliner. She happily lay on it and closed her eyes to rest. Everyone was so angry that they were twitching. Did you come to catch fire spirit beasts or go sightseeing? This is really too random. Bai Moya's eyes revealed a trace of malice. Keep showing off, Yun Chujo. You have the lowest spiritual power among us. When the time comes, I'll do something to you, and this fire cave will be your burial ground. After an hour, everyone continued walking. Ahead is the territory of the fire serpent. Although it is only a tier 2 demonic beast, they live in groups and exist in large numbers. Therefore, we have to end the battle quickly and not linger around. Sure enough, after everyone walked for a distance, the fire serpents began to attack them. The fire serpents had a cluster of fire markings on their heads, and they could swallow and spit fireballs. Although their grades were not high, everyone's movements were limited in the fire cave. On top of the large number of fire serpents, they definitely added a lot of trouble to everyone. Yun Chuzi and the others protected Yun Chujo in the middle. Yun Chujo, who was thick-skinned, did not feel embarrassed at all. Instead, she kept putting the bodies of the fire serpents that they had killed into her storage ring. Although these fire serpents were of low grades, they aren't available anywhere else. Perhaps they can be sold for a good price. This fellow had long forgotten what she had said before about not being too greedy. Chapter 368, the book that Yun Chujo read by Moyu tried several times to lure the fire serpent to Yun Chujia's side, but failed. He was afraid that he would attract the attention of others, so he had to give up temporarily. 2 hours later, they finally passed through the fire serpent's area. After walking for a while, the path ahead suddenly became clear. Several small holes appeared on the wall above their heads. Sunlight shone through the small holes, making the scene incredibly beautiful. Elder Shao, why are there so many small holes on the wall? An elder asked curiously. Elder Shao explained, the nest of the fire-breathing eagles is on the wall. These small holes were pecked out by them over thousands of years. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. Those fire-breathing eagles are probably sick. Do they have a bad habit of grinding their teeth while sleeping? The corner of Elder Shao's eyes twitched. The reason why they pecked out these holes is that their eggs need a large amount of heat to hatch. They use the rising heat here to do that. Yun Chujo curled her lips. With such a high temperature, wouldn't the babies turn into steamed eggs before it hatches? Elder Shao glared at her fiercely. The temperature ahead is increasing. With your spiritual power, it's difficult to resist the high temperature inside. Moreover, the demonic beasts ahead are at least level 5. You can't deal with them either. Due to the presence of the fire-breathing eagles, those fire serpents won't come here. Moreover, the environment here is special, so there won't be any high-level demonic beasts. You guys just wait here. If we have not come out after 3 days, I'm afraid we've met our demise. You guys go back to the sect then. Liao Chuan, you're the oldest here. You keep this flying spirit tool well. When the time comes, you'll control this flying spirit tool and bring them back to the sect. Liao Chuan nodded in agreement. Elder Chu then set up a protective array around everyone before leaving. Yun Chujo took out a recliner from her storage ring and laid down happily on it. She then took out the storybook she had bought on the way and started reading. When everyone saw the words on the cover, the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. Shockingly, the words they saw were, "Me and my 3,000 beautiful male cultivation furnaces, 1, were written on it. Yun Chujo, you're actually reading such a dirty book. You're really shameless. Bai Moru said in disdain. Junior sister Bai, have you forgotten? She has always been like this. In the past, she pestered senior brother Bai and ran all over the city. A few days ago, I heard that she even seduced some young Master D. She really has no sense of shame. Yun Chushan hated Yun Chujo to death in her heart. What right did she have? Clearly, a good-for-nothing was not only favored by the family head in the clan, but she actually became a true disciple in Spirit Radiance sect. Were these people blind? Yun Chujo shifted her gaze from the book to the two of them and said slowly, either you shut your mouths yourselves, or I'll help you shut your mouths forever. Bai Moru was about to fly into a rage when Bai Moyu said coldly, Moru, junior sister Yun, say no more. Everyone has their own judgment on what's right and wrong. Just now at the fire serpent's place, not only did Yun Chujo not lend a hand, she even took away the fire serpent's corpse. It could be said that she's extremely selfish. There's no need to argue with such a person. Yun Chujo raised her eyebrows. Who else has a problem with me? Do you think I'm selfish? Bai Moyu and the others immediately scolded Yun Chujo for being selfish. Yun Chuki and the others naturally had to protect Yun Chujo and fiercely argued with her. Liao Chuan and the other two did not say anything. It was obvious that they did not want to participate in the dispute between the two factions. Enough. Stop arguing. Since you guys said I'm selfish, then I'll be selfish. I originally planned to divide the serpents I collected equally with everyone. After all, these fire serpents are considered rare and precious. Since you guys are so selfless, then I won't include you when I divide them. Without you guys, we can each get a little more. Yun Chujo said with a smile. Chapter 369, If you want to know if someone's dead, you have to see their corpse. By Moyu and the others were instantly dumbfounded. Yun Chujo actually gave out the fire serpents in her storage ring to everyone right in front of them. Chen Dachuan and the others were extremely excited. Fire serpents were rarely seen in the market, so it would bring in huge profits. Liao Chuan and the other two were also very surprised. However, none of them had any enmity regarding the spirit stones, so they kept the serpents after thanking Yun Chujiu. Bai Moru said angrily, Yun Chujiu, we killed some of them too. Why don't you give them to us? Yun Chujiu looked at her as if she was looking at an idiot. Aren't you a selfless person? Do you care about these things? Right, you always care about yourself. How did that Lu Yongxing die? I don't believe that a man like him would break those so-called jade stones for no reason. Yun Chujiu pointed at the male disciples beside Bai Moru and said, TSK, you guys are still citing her. You really have such short memory. The male disciples recalled Lu Yongsheng's death and could not help but feel scared. Yun Chushan said softly from the side, this Yun Chujiu is used to twisting reality. Senior brother Liu's death was just an accident. What does it have to do with Moru? Moru was also scared. Bai Moru quickly teared and said sorrowfully, Yun Chujiu, you're slandering me. I'm also very sad that senior brother Lu is dead, but I have no ability to save him. That's right. Yun Chujiu, don't talk nonsense. It was senior brother Lu who was careless and provoked those red flame ants. It has nothing to do with junior sister Bai. The male disciples saw Bai Moru's charming face full of tears and immediately threw their rationality to the back of their minds. Yun Chujiu could not be bothered with these idiots. She could not persuade those damn imbeciles with words, so she picked up her book and continued reading. Time passed quickly. On the third day, everyone began to worry. Elder Shao and the others still had not returned. Could it be that they were really doomed? Everyone's mood gradually fell. Yun Chujiu felt that the situation was not great either. Even if they did not catch the fire spirit beast, Elder Shao and the others should have returned. Why were they not back yet? Could it be that they had encountered some powerful demonic beast? On the morning of the fourth day, Liao Chuan gritted his teeth. Junior brothers and sisters, I'm afraid that the elders have already met their demise. According to Elder Shao's instructions, we will return by the same route. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed as she followed everyone and began to walk out. Although they had encountered some trouble with the fire serpents, they still managed to successfully exit the fire cave. Liao Chuan called out the flying spirit tool, and everyone boarded it with heavy hearts. Little Jiu, what are you waiting for? Come on up. Yun Chuki saw that Yun Chujiu was still standing idly, so she quickly called out. Yun Chujiu smiled at her, and then said to Liao Chuan, who was standing beside her and had yet to board the flying spirit tool, Senior brother Liao, I won't go back with you guys. I want to go in and see how Elder Shao and the others are doing. Liao Chuan was stunned at first, then he said seriously, Junior sister Xiaojiu, your intention is good, but since Elder Shao and the others didn't come out in one piece, it means that the situation inside must be very dangerous. Your spiritual power is low. Aren't you just sending yourself to death? Hearing Yun Chuki's words, Yun Chuki and the others also ran down from the spirit tool. Little Jiu, don't mess around. This isn't a joke. Yun Chujiu said slowly and firmly, I have to go in. I want to see people when I'm alive, and I want to see corpses when I'm dead. I can't just disappear like this. Don't worry, I have the spirit tool that the sect leader gave me. It's enough to protect my life. Chapter 370. Get lost. Yun Chuzi and the others knew that Yun Chuji's decision would not change, so they said one after another, Little Jiu, if that's the case, then we'll go in with you. Yun Chujiu shook her head. No. The spiritual weapon on me can only ensure my own safety. Don't worry, I cherish my life very much. If I see that the situation isn't good, I'll definitely retreat. Liao Chuan recalled that in the previous trial, Yun Chujiu had come out of the mystic realm, and she had even brought out the inner core of a Tier 8 demonic beast. His heart moved. Perhaps this junior sister Little Jiu was not as mediocre as they thought. Otherwise, she would not have become a successor disciple. Liao Chuan thought of this and said, "Junior sister little Jiu, since you've made up your mind, I won't stop you. We won't leave this place for the time being and we'll wait for you for another 3 days. If you still don't come out after 3 days, well leave." Yun Chujiu nodded. Liao Chuan was a good person. He was both smart and had morals. Yun Chujiu immediately entered the fire cave again. Bai Moyu, who was on the flying spirit tool, had a twinkle in his eyes. He originally wanted to use the fire Edelweiss to do something, but he did not expect her to be so stupid as to go in and save the elders. She was really courting death. And Feng, who was hiding in the corner, wanted to cry but had no tears. "Oh my God, what are you doing? How could a fire spirit beast be so easy to catch? It must be very dangerous. You're just a small fry. Aren't you sending yourself to your death?" And Feng had no choice but to tail Yun Chujiu and enter the fire cave. Yun Chujiu began to speed up. Time was life. If she delayed any longer, something untoward might happen. Soon, she arrived at the fire serpent's territory. When they saw that Yun Chujiu was alone, they all spat out their tongues and crawled over. "Fuck off." Yun Chujiu stretched out her hand and shot out a few purple lightning bolts. These fire serpents lived in this fire cave all year round, so they had never seen purple lightning bolts before. They were immediately scared and scattered in all directions. After Yun Chujiu scared away the fire serpents, she quickly continued to run forward. And Feng, who was tailing her, clicked his tongue. My God, judging from what Miss Jiu did just now, she should have at least the spiritual power of a second-level spirit cultivator. Miss Jiu only used a little more than a year's time to go from a trash who had no spiritual power to a second-level spirit cultivator. This speed of cultivation was simply frightening. Yun Chujiu ran as fast as she could. As she ran, she put on the birthday gift that she had bought from others. There were more than 10 hairpins on her head, 7 or 8 necklaces on her neck, more than 10 bracelets on her wrists, and a few colorful sashes on her waist. After this fellow finished dressing up, she felt much more confident. With her outfit, even if she encountered a tier 8 demon beast, she could drag it to death. And Feng, who was watching from behind, was dumbfounded. My God! Where did Miss Jiu get so many defensive spirit tools? Did she steal from the spirit tool pavilion of Spirit Radiance sect? Yun Chujiu encountered a few waves of demon beasts along the way. Relying on the purple heavenly lightning and the defensive spirit tools, she passed through without much effort. I don't know how deep this damn fire cave is. I've been running for almost a day, but I still haven't reached the end. Yun Chujiu was really tired from running, so she found a relatively safe place to sit down and rest. Rolling pin, if only you could become bigger. I can sit on it and rest. Now I can only stand on you. I really can't use it in this cave. Yun Chujiu muttered. The rolling pin said weakly, Master, since you've leveled up, I'll naturally level up. I can grow bigger. Yun Chujiu was so angry that her nose was almost crooked. You can fucking grow bigger. Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me run like a little donkey for an entire day. Chapter 371, The 6-piece will set. Yun Chujiu took out the rolling pin from her storage ring. The rolling pin floated in the air and slowly turned into a large chopping board. Yun Chujiu jumped onto the board. It was just enough to sit her. This girl could not help but curse in her heart. Fortunately, she was thin. Otherwise, she really would not be able to sit down. Little flame, just fly straight. I'll meditate and rest. If anything comes up, just holler. Yun Chujiu began to meditate and rest. And Feng was miserable. He stuffed a pill into his mouth and relentlessly tailed her. Master, there are demonic beasts ahead. Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes and saw several black demonic beasts lying on the ground in front of her. Yun Chuzhou had seen this type of demonic beast in the Demonic Beast Atlas at the library. It was a mountain-drilling dragon, a Tier 6 demonic beast. It lived in groups and its innate ability was not only to dig holes. It could also spit out a form of sticky silk that was extremely difficult to deal with. Ordinary swords and sabers would not be able to cut through it and would get stuck in it. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes. Little flame, keep flying forward. I'll deal with them. The chopping board continued flying forward rapidly, and the mountain-drilling dragons started spitting sticky silk toward the chopping board one after another. Yun Chuzhou raised her spiritual energy barrier and blocked the sticky silk from reaching the chopping board. She thought that the sticky silk would not be able to do anything to her. Unexpectedly, several sticky threads actually dragged the spiritual energy shield down slowly. Oh my god, is this some sort of sick game? Yun Chuzhou quickly waved her right hand. Little Jiu Thunderbolt. The mountain-drilling dragons were initially shocked by the lightning and became frazzled. One by one, they began to drill into the underground cave. Yun Chuzhou was very proud. Little beasts, no matter how powerful you are, you're still no match for me. Yun Chuzhou did not stay proud for long. A sharp cry came from the ground. Then, an even bigger mountain-drilling dragon appeared. After hearing its call, the other mountain-drilling dragons also came out of the cave. They spat out sticky threads at Yun Chuzhou, who was floating in the air again. Yun Chuzhou had to use her lightning trick again. Although she had killed a few mountain-drilling dragons and had cut off some of the sticky threads, they continued to spit at her under the command of the king beast. Yun Chuzhou had just cut off a few sticky threads when a large amount of sticky threads wrapped around her. Yun Chuzhou was getting a little worried. If she put down her spiritual energy barrier, she could be stuck by these sticky threads at any moment. However, if she did not, her spiritual energy would eventually be exhausted. Regardless, the result would still be the same. These mountain-drilling dragons were really difficult to deal with. And Feng, who was behind her, was about to help her when the situation suddenly reversed. A ball of wool appeared between Yun Chuzhou's eyebrows and happily used its little claws to pull the sticky threads. As it pulled, it shouted, "This is my favorite kind of thread. Spit more, I want to knit a vest." The sticky threads were no different from ordinary threads when they were in Fei's claws, and it rolled them into a ball. The mountain-drilling dragon was miserable. Producing the sticky threads were their innate ability. If their threads were taken, they would starve to death in the future. Well done, Furry. Get more. How is that enough to make a vest? You can also knit sweaters and trousers and have a whole 6-piece wool set. I'll see how they show off after we take all their sticky threads. They actually want to trap me. They're really courting death. Yun Chuzhou clapped her hands to cheer Furry on. The mountain-drilling dragons wanted to escape back underground, but Furry grabbed their sticky threads. They could not escape even if they wanted to, so Yun Chuzhou struck dozens of them with lightning. The Beast King was obviously smarter. Seeing that the situation had deteriorated, it brought the rest of the pack back underground. Chapter 372, Fire Dragon. Yun Chuzhou kept the corpses of the mountain-drilling dragons into her storage ring and commanded the chopping board to continue flying forward. Furry, it seems that you're quite capable. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Furry said proudly, Master, I'm very capable. After I'm done weaving the vest, I'll weave a sticky silk net to help you catch demonic beasts in the future. Furry, your idea isn't bad at all. Go on and weave a good net. Yun Chuzhou's eyes lit up. When she encountered enemies in the future, she would get Furry to cast the net and catch the animal. Was that not fantastic? And Feng was dumbfounded. She's actually taking this as a game. The master was weird, but this weapon spirit was even weirder. A weapon spirit who knew how to knit sweaters. Only it could knit sweaters made from the sticky silk of mountain drilling dragons. Although the fire cave was called a cave, it was actually more like a semi-enclosed underground space. The deeper they went, the more spacious it became. Sunlight shone in through some tiny gaps, and the ground started to become more populated with plants. There were even some shrubs. Yun Chujio passed through the territories of a few demon beasts safely. She was a little puzzled. What exactly was trapping Elder Chu and the others? The temperature was getting higher and higher, and the plants on the ground began to become scarce again. Moreover, the temperature was rising rapidly. Yun Chujio's scalp was slightly numb and it seemed that there was danger ahead. Yun Chujio put away the chopping board and took out a concealment talisman painfully. Sigh, I really can't bear to do this, but I have no choice but to use the concealment talisman the gigolo gave me. This thing only lasts for 2 hours. I have to hurry up. And Feng, who was following far behind her, also hesitantly took out a concealment talisman. The deeper we go, the more dangerous it is. I have to get closer to Mischievous. Yun Chujio advanced swiftly. After 15 minutes, she smelled a strong stench. Yun Chujio did not dare to be careless and proceeded cautiously. Some bones and fur of demon beasts began to appear on the ground sporadically. Yun Chujio's heart could not help but tremble. Could it be that Elder Chu and the rest were already there? Yun Chujio did not dare to think any further and continued moving forward. Suddenly, a loud beastly roar came from ahead. Yun Chujio felt her ears trembling until they were somewhat numb. At the same time, the ground began to tremble. Yun Chujio took out 2 balls of cotton and stuffed them into her ears before continuing forward carefully. After another 15 minutes, Yun Chujio saw the scene in front of her and could not help but feel both happy and worried. She saw a trembling spiritual energy barrier on the ground in the distance. It was Elder Xiao and the others. Yun Chujio counted, and there was not a single one of the 12 people missing. However, all of them were seriously injured. Elder Xiao and Elder Chu seemed to be in a better condition, and they were trying their best to support the spiritual energy barrier. Outside the spiritual energy barrier, there was a huge demonic beast constantly using its sharp claws to attack the spiritual energy barrier. When Yun Chujio saw the beast, she thought she was looking at the legendary divine dragon. This beast had the body of a snake. It was a few thousand feet long, and each scale was the size of a millstone. Its 4 claws were extremely sharp, and there was a fiery red horn on its head. The rolling pin said softly, "Master, this is a fire dragon." This fire dragon has already grown a horn, which means it's at least at tier 12, equivalent to the 6th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Yun Chujio's heart sank. Elder Xiao's spiritual energy was the highest among them, and he was only at the 4th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. The higher the level of the spiritual energy, the greater the difference between each level of the spiritual energy. The difference between each level was like a gully, and the fire dragon had the geographical advantage. No wonder everyone was defeated. While Yun Chujio was still deep in thought, the fire dragon's huge head turned to Yun Chujio's side and spat a huge fireball at her. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.